Can't beat us, join us, please bring your coinage. We sink three-pointers, money shots, all net, all vets. Bums we not, jet skiing in them sunny spots. With women edible like gummy drops. Dummy stop, dummy stop. The weapon form can intercept the storm. Once my intellect is on, I'm projecting on magnetic fields and interact with blacks with athletic bills. I'm all about growth and development like residents of Ebbets Fields. Not to choose between woo and chew. We wanna line them colors up like a Rubik's Cube and fade to black, yeah, the truest hue. When you say the black man is God, who you alluded to? The usual, Clarence 13X, a worthy guess. The words expressed come from the word in flesh. Elijah M, the NOI versus Leviathan. Messiah sent from the heavenly branches. 7 P's from since G-Dub cut down the cherry tree. In the wilderness of North Mex, and we flossing death and forced aggression, or forced perception, forced protection, or forced confessions. It's all a lesson. The sorcerers from Corsica, killer tonics, sticks and drums like the Philharmonic Orchestra. You niggas still playing harmonicas from officers, fabric softener. Jive turkeys popping 5 perkies, playing with keys, the Scotch storage type. For that soft white, we could've caught life, just being forthright. First class on my 4th flight, popping out like Fortnite. Every night we lit like Porsche lights. The meek shall inherit the earth, oh yeah, the scorched type. And these niggas, they some hoes in these streets. Me, I'm 10 toes in these streets. They lost their souls, niggas got holes in their feet. Shit, I'm just worried about the craft and how to perfect it. Not worried about the craft, yeah, that's out of perspectives. Focus on the chip like I'm Robert Kraft, and then how to protect it. It's the waves of the oceans. Get to the money, nigga, save your emotion. Descendant of the slaves in the graves in the oceans. Mastermind that the waves is in motions. These niggas, they addicted to the folly, addicted to that molly. Making me a movie, them sticks made of holly. I'm Dr. Manhattan, sitting on top of Manhattan. When I get all 5 rings, snap my fingers and pop up on satin. Dressed in all black, yeah, drop top the Phantom. Best.
Crumb TV.
There's nothing to play with. Viewer discretion advised. People.
Can't beat us, join us, please bring your coinage. We sink three-pointers, money shots, all net, all vets. Bums we not, jet skiing in them sunny spots. With women edible like gummy drops. Dummy stop, dummy stop. The weapon form can intercept the storm. Once my intellect is on, I'm projecting on magnetic fields and interact with blacks with athletic bills. I'm all about growth and development like residents of Ebbets Fields. Not to choose between woo and chew. We wanna line them colors up like a Rubik's Cube and fade to black, yeah, the truest hue. When you say the black man is God, who you alluded to? The usual, Clarence 13X, a worthy guess. The words expressed come from the word in flesh. Elijah M, the NOI versus Leviathan. Messiah sent from the heavenly branches. 7 P's from since G-Dub cut down the cherry tree. In the wilderness of North Mex, and we flossing death and forced aggression, or forced perception, forced protection, or forced confessions. It's all a lesson. The sorcerers from Corsica, killer tonics, sticks and drums like the Philharmonic Orchestra. You niggas still playing harmonicas from officers, fabric softener. Jive turkeys popping 5 perkies, playing with keys, the Scotch storage type. For that soft white, we could've caught life, just being forthright. First class on my 4th flight, popping out like Fortnite. Every night we lit like Porsche lights. The meek shall inherit the earth, oh yeah, the scorched type. And these niggas, they some hoes in these streets. Me, I'm 10 toes in these streets. They lost their souls, niggas got holes in their feet. Shit, I'm just worried about the craft and how to perfect it. Not worried about the craft, yeah, that's out of perspectives. Focus on the chip like I'm Robert Kraft, and then how to protect it.
It's the waves of the oceans. Get to the money, nigga, save your emotion. Descendant of the slaves in the graves in the oceans. Mastermind that the waves is in motions. These niggas, they addicted to the folly, addicted to that molly. Making me a movie, them sticks made of holly. I'm Dr. Manhattan, sitting on top of Manhattan. When I get all 5 rings, snap my fingers and pop up on satin. Dressed in all black, yeah, drop top the Phantom. Best.
Crumb TV.
Peace to the family, peace to you and yours. Peace to the family, peace to you and yours. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another episode of What the WTF Wednesdays. You are now rocking with the best. Yes, this is your host for the evening, Brother Red Pillar. And that song that you just heard right there, that is the Theta Waves featuring the Twin Pillars. Let me know how we doing on the audio, ladies and gentlemen. Give me an audio check if you don't mind. Give me an audio check and let me know what we sounding like. You know what I'm talking about? Shout out to everybody pulling up in the building. It's already deep. It's early and y'all already pulling up. That means we're going to have a great show. I see you, Kafunya. I see you, Kafunya. All right. Shout out to everybody up in the building and whatnot. You said that we good? All right now. So check this out. We are going to be exploring a new format. And I'm going to be doing it I think Wednesdays, Wednesdays, and maybe Fridays. I'm gonna be exploring a new format. Well, I don't know. Y'all let me know how y'all feel about it. Maybe a Melanin Monday or a Third Eye Thursday. We might utilize that in this form. So what we're gonna be doing, because we got so many people in our network that, you know, I've been wanting to interview, right? There's so many cross promotions and cross platforms and digital convergences that are taking place. We have to allocate a day to interview people, right? So what I'm gonna do on the Wednesday show specifically is it's gonna be half news, where we do what we've been doing with the news clips, and then half interviews, where we're bringing on multiple people who got things going on that y'all need to know about. You feel me? Y'all need to know about these things. So that's gonna be the new format that we're gonna start exploring. And then probably at the top of the year, I'm thinking maybe January, who knows, we're going to switch into a newer format where one of the days are going to be straight lectures. We're just going to go crazy with lectures, PowerPoint, keynotes, straight information, research, because it's like the research that I've been compiling, I don't have nothing to do with it. If I don't do a lecture, the research go bad like milk. You know what I'm saying? And it's like I've been compiling all of this research. Like I'm grabbing clips and stuff, but I got mad research. Like I got, you know what I'm saying? Like my keynote done crashed my Macintosh and shit. I literally am sitting on tons and tons of research, and it's going bad like bad dope. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I need to allocate a day to get a lot of this stuff off every week. You know what I mean? Because it's stuff going on, and I'm covering multiple topics, but it's like, you know, I need a format to teach. You know what I'm saying? Straight up teaching the way that I've always been teaching. You know, with the visuals. I'm a visual teacher. So that is something that we're gonna be giving it to. We're gonna be giving that. We're gonna give a day to doing these straight up lectures and whatnot, because I do feel like y'all deserve some of that. Y'all deserve this information, the way that we put it together, the decoding, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. So look forward to that. Look forward to that. Um today though, today I do have, I'm gonna spoil y'all a little bit, and I do have a powerful presentation that I put together because I've been talking about, well, let me give a little bit of let me preface it, right? This is something that I don't want to do. right? This is something that I do not want to do. I don't want to be misinterpreted, right? It's okay to be misinterpreted in some ways, but I never want any of my audience or anybody that's been tapping in to have any of the wrong impressions about my intentions and what I do when I'm teaching and whatnot. So I was on Brother Rich's platform the other day, and we were talking about, I was with Professor Griff, and we were talking about survival and everything. And then I brought up this event that I got coming up this weekend, or this strong in Saturday, right? And I brought up the fact that we're going to be dealing with the prediction market, right? Something that I feel that the audience may not know about. And then Rich says something about, oh, what, we gambling and whatnot. And I was like, nah, we not gambling. What I wanted to say, and I didn't get to say it fully, is that no, we're dealing with forecasting. This is not gambling. And what I want to do today is make the distinction between the rise of the prediction markets, which we call forecasting, and what they will call sports betting and gambling. I don't know nothing about that. I know about forecasting. I know that people come online every day and forecast. I know that the majority of teachers that come on these platforms, they get up here and they forecast. And there's nobody to fact check the forecasting. There's no follow up. There's no fact checking. There's no probability. There's no model that's built to see who amongst our teachers, who in our community is the master at this thing. And there's a multi-billion-dollar industry that they built right underneath our noses with forecasting. And I ain't talking about the weather either. I'm talking about events. So what I did is my due diligence. I went in a lab and I put together the research, because I got a whole lecture that I put together, but I'm just gonna give a little bit of some insight. And because of technology, because of Google Gemini and all of that, I was able to compile a nice little explainer through what they call notebook, right? So I'm gonna give y'all a sample about what y'all have to look forward to from my perspective this strong end on Saturday, which is going to be a monumental, groundbreaking event. And then later on, I'm bringing on the sister who's going to be opening up for Ras Ben, one of the openers. We have two. Shout out to Aisha, right, who created a whole entire app around the prediction markets. She's the one that inspired me and got my wheels turning. I'm like, oh shit, that's what we doing now? Okay, let's go. You know what I mean? The proactiveness. And I'm bringing on our good sister Ariel Angelic, all right, from the brand Angelic Alchemy. And she's gonna open up your minds and whatnot. She's gonna blow your she's gonna blow you away. I promise you. She got the science, y'all, about the God body. You feel me? How to build the God body, how to really tap in. I'm talking ancestral intelligence, the real intelligence. That's what I'm going to be bringing to the table and whatnot. But before I do, and I got my good brother Knowledge Born Allah, we're going to chop it up and whatnot. But before I do that, let me get into this thing, and then we're going to get into some news clips, and then we're going to get into our guests. All right. So let me set it off with this prediction model thing, so everybody has a great we all on the same page to what's going on and what's happening then. All right, check it out.
Centuries, humans have looked to the stars, the seasons, and esoteric traditions to understand what happens next. Today, that ancient... For centuries, humans have...
We got Kafunya opening up with the sound bowl meditation on Saturn Day, right after the block party for Michael Jackson with Spike Lee, right down the block. Then we got Kafunya opening up with the sound bowl. Then we got Sister Angelic Ariel with the free cacao. Everybody that's coming through the building, you're going to get you some cacao. I'm working on getting the cigars and whatnot so we can have cacao and tobacco up in this biatch, right? And then we have the opening acts and whatnot. And then Uncle Hanky is in the building. He's going to be dropping things, and he's going to have his technology with him. So, yeah, we got medicine in the building. We got technology. We got God body technology. We got Star Nation in the building. We got forecasting in the building. My man, yeah, Nicholas, It's just gonna take over, like we're gonna take off like a spaceship. You know what I'm talking about? Like we are going through a portal in Brooklyn on Saturday. That is a fact. Black August, yeah, this is how we're gonna end Black August. We're gonna land Black August the right way. You know what I'm talking about? Dog days of summer on that ass. We're gonna do it right. And Mikael is gonna open up the pathway. I'm gonna be doing my Billie Jean dance in the daytime, and then we're gonna, get charged up and pull right up to Nicholas. But let's go.
Look to the stars, the seasons, and esoteric.
Staring into the stars until it landed me on Mars.
Today, that ancient impulse is finding a home in financial networks that assign a specific cash value to every possible tomorrow. Research into 2026 trading accounts shows a sharp divide in who actually profits on platforms like Kalshi and Polymarket.
I'm sorry, y'all. There's just so much going on. Friday, for the first time, well, I was on BAI on Basia M. Chowie's show, who is one of, that's my uncle, right? I was on BAI before with Baba M. Chowie, Baba Basir. But on Friday, me and Ross Ben will be on a radio show. Sister Kafunya, give me the name of the radio show. My father knows about this show and my mama too. When I told them, they was like, wait, you gonna be on that show? Right? So we are gonna be on WBAI at 11:30 a.m. I would be honored if the KT aliens were to pull up and, check out your brother. You know what I'm talking about? When I'm on the radio, I can't curse, so I gotta have Heart of Mine is the name of the show. Heart of Mine. This is real radio, ladies and gentlemen, so I could promote my event. You feel me? That's such an honor that they and the host, she's familiar with our work. She knows who we are. So it's a double whammy. You know what I'm saying? WBAI, hosted by Kathy Davis, baby. You feel me? Your boy is on the radio. Like when they be having people listen to themselves on the radio and they start freaking out. But yes, that's, you see how powerful? Look, this thing started out as a Patreon class. You feel me? This started out as a Patreon class that me and Ross Ben was gonna do because we had to follow up to what we did a few months ago in the beginning of the year. And it has evolved from a Patreon class that we were gonna do. I was gonna be in my dark office by myself. You feel me? Me and my incense and my candles. But now I'm going to be right in Brooklyn in front of a crowd in Nicholas with Monique, the same Nicholas that gave me the opportunity 10 years ago to do Fear of a Blackamoor Messiah, one of my biggest lectures to date, right? And I'm going to be back in the building with Sister Monique, who I just was with in Atlanta at InvestFest. I'm going to be with Kafunya, Sister Kafunya. I'm going to be with Uncle Hanky, who I was with at my album listening in New York. I'm going to be with family. You feel me? I'm going to try to bring my son out with me because he goes to college the next day. So I need him to look at the professor working, sir. Like, look at them. You know what I mean? Yeah, these are the real teachers. I'm going to be with Sister Ariel. She'll be opening up. You know what I mean? I told her, I'm like, yo, just come through. It's going to be love. You're going to enjoy yourself. Like, this is family right here. You know what I mean? And we're gonna bring people from Brooklyn and New York and the tri-boroughs out who haven't seen us in a long time. And we're gonna do a pop-up with Cambada from 7 to 8 with the album and the merch. We got merch. We got CDs. We're gonna be signing them. And we're gonna be playing music, celebrating our art project, celebrating the completion of something that we started many years ago. This album didn't just come over the week. This came many years ago. We've been working on this for about 4 years. You feel me? Knowledge born Allah. Shout out to the God. Shout out to Rob in the building. All right, let me stop talking. Let me play this and let's go. This is about the future prediction markets, but what we would call the forecasting industry.
For centuries, humans have looked to the stars, the seasons, and esoteric traditions to understand what happens next. Today, that ancient impulse is finding a home in financial networks that assign a specific cash value to every possible tomorrow. Research into 2026 trading accounts shows a sharp divide in who actually profits on platforms like Kalshi and Polymarket. A small percentage of professional winners consistently outperform the crowd, while the vast majority of retail participants lose money to these skilled traders. To avoid becoming liquidity for those professionals, you need a method for translating your insights into evidence. This guide will help you build a personal forecasting engine, a system for turning intuitive or esoteric observations into rigorous, testable data. Methodical. This framework bridges ancient observational practices with modern derivative contracts. It allows you to evaluate your actual forecasting skill objectively, separate from the high-risk environment of professional gambling. Step 1 is defining the event. This tally board records a historical election, a clear, measurable outcome. To test your forecasting ability, you must move past vague feelings and anchor your predictions in this kind of hard, verifiable reality. A statement like, "a leader will face trials," is a prophecy that cannot be measured. A prediction like, "the incumbent will secure the nomination by December 15th," has a binary resolution and a strict deadline. Step 2 is generating the probability. Because no single data point reveals the whole picture, you must combine multiple information streams into a single thesis. This prediction stack funnels empirical data, like economic indicators, and esoteric signals, like astrological transits, into a central node. This node represents your personal model. You make this model functional by assigning specific mathematical weights to your inputs. In this example, we assign 25% to historical data, 15% to news sentiment, and 60% to an astrological transit model. This calculation does not offer certainty. It produces a 72% likelihood of the event occurring. Forcing intuition into a mathematical percentage requires a high level of discipline. This is the filter that separates a rigorous forecaster from someone simply guessing. Step 3 is the ethical filter. Your ability to forecast must be checked by moral boundaries before any money changes hands. Avoid markets that commodify human suffering. You must walk away from any contract involving war, assassination, or natural disasters. Betting on tragedy creates a perverse incentive. It psychologically aligns your financial gain with another person's misfortune, which can warp your objective judgment. These boundaries align with federal regulations. The CFTC evaluates event contracts involving war or terrorism to ensure they do not undermine the public interest. Adhering to this filter ensures your practice remains focused on gathering information rather than exploiting tragedy. Step 4 is executing the trade through information arbitrage. This is the moment your personal model meets the public market price. Share prices in these markets reflect implied probabilities. If a yes contract costs 63 cents, the crowd is assuming a 63% chance that the event happens. The mathematical discrepancy between your model and the market is your edge. Here, a 9% gap exists between your 72% calculation and the market's 63% price. You only initiate a trade when a significant gap exists. You are backing the belief that your esoteric model has identified information that the crowd is currently ignoring. Step 5 is to resolve and score. Once the deadline passes and reality is settled, you record the result against your prediction. We measure this through calibration. Over a sample of 100 predictions, if you claim 70% confidence, you should be correct exactly 7 out of 10 times. A fluctuating line shows inconsistency, while a diagonal line proves your model is calibrated to reality. Tracking the score over time removes ego from the process. It proves whether your methodology actually works. You now have the structure for a personal forecasting engine. You are equipped to participate in the prediction economy with an ethical, data-driven approach. This method requires a specific mental shift. You must distinguish between your internal confidence and your model's measured accuracy. Move past the claim of being a prophet. Instead, focus on building a quantifiable track record of your results. Download the forecasting engine template to begin. Your first task is to paper trade.
Did you hear that lady? Did you hear that robot? She said, move past being a prophet and prove that shit with a prediction. And nobody is, look, this is just all about, listen, are y'all picking up what I'm putting down?
20 predictions without using real capital. Achieving mastery of the future requires the rigorous and ethical measurement of your connection to the unfolding world.
The future has the price, the rise, and the risk of the prediction economy. So between 2024 and 2026, there's been an explosion, right, of these prediction markets where this is not gambling. This is a different type of quote unquote, this is a different type of niche platform that we're looking at. All right. This is completely different. And as this video goes through it, you'll understand furthermore.
Definitely say it coincide prophecy.
So what this graph is showing you real quick in a nutshell, right? So up there you see where you have prediction markets, right? Which is basically a truth machine. The aggregated truth. You're able to aggregate the truth. If you utilize the tools that are available, you can aggregate the truth, right? But of course, we're dealing with crooked people. We're dealing with robber barons. We're dealing with evil geniuses. So what are they doing? They are aiming to create financial nihilism. When they bet on wars, when they bet on assassinations, when they bet on disasters, it's similar to the disaster industry. You know what I mean? Halliburton and all of these industries that they built out off of disaster. FEMA, you feel me? So now they built a market. They've created an entire market off of disaster, off of war, right? So there was a situation where they were calling, you know how in crypto you got the whales and whatnot. Well, these are the orcas. Okay, these are the orcas. They had insiders inside of Kalshi and Polymarket that they were calling the orcas. And the orcas were hitting a 97.2 average win rate. These niggas put up some money and was like Maduro was going down a few hours before his ass went down, and he went down. So as you can see, there's mass manipulation in that market and whatnot. We're not encouraging nobody to go into that market. We're not pushing nobody into poly market. We're just explaining and breaking it down as to what the hell is going on, because quiet as kept, that market has taken over sports and betting. They doing more numbers than sports and betting. They're doing more numbers than FanDuel and all of that other shit. The Barstool, and they doing more numbers than them combined. You know? So right there, you see this loop, right? You see the reflexive loop. This loop right here is very important, because what they're beginning to do is they're beginning to manipulate public opinion through the loop, right? Kalshi was going crazy during FIFA. Hell yeah, it was going crazy during the Knicks. It was going crazy during goddamn NBA finals, WNBA finals, FIFA. Remember, events is where prediction markets thrive, right? And I'm going to show you how they basically separated the two. But contests, they said that you could trade on contests. You can't trade on war. You can't trade on death, but you could trade on contests. because with contests, there's a variation of A and B. Okay. So as you can see, market odds influence media reports, which then alter voter or consumer behavior. CNN and all of the news channels are plugged into Polymarket now. They are integrated with Polymarket and Kalshi, and that's how they're telling the news. Hold on. Let me see something. Okay, so here's the numbers. Here's the numbers. Here's the supporting facts, so it's not just speculation, right? 100x growth in volume, right? From 2025 to 2026, Kalshi grew they 100x growth in volume. They went from 30 million a week, right, in 2025 to $5 billion a week by late 2025, driven by mainstream partnerships. So when they got with CNN threw billions on them, and a few other people threw billions on them. They went from 30 million to 5 billion a week. Look at that growth. So that means that people are manipulate. They are locked in. You're not locked in. You don't know about this. You're not playing the odds and whatnot. But people are literally putting their energy. They're literally putting their chi. They're putting their energy and their money into this quote unquote into these markets and whatnot. The prediction model. The financialization of everything. The financialization of everything. Ethics experts question the morality of profiting from crises, warning that it creates a tiring society constantly on the make. Okay? Let us continue. So we're going to go further into this on Saturday. We're going to dig deeper into this. This is an explainer, but we're going to go deeper into this on Saturday to get people in a better alignment, you know. And we're also going to introduce a prediction model that was built by one of our students. Okay, they already built one, and it's ethical.
Right now, you can go online and put money on whether aliens exist, the richest person this year, or the next global military strike. People are also placing thousands of dollars on pop culture, trying to project things like first-week album sales for Taylor Swift. Over the past year, the platforms hosting these bets, like Polymarket and Kalshi, saw their trading volume explode by a factor of 100. They are now handling billions of dollars in volume every week. Unlike a traditional sportback, there is no house taking the opposite side of your bet. This is a peer-to-peer derivative market. Buyers and sellers trade shares of a specific outcome, priced from 1 to 99 cents based on trader consensus. When a share costs 68 cents, the market prices in a 68% probability the event will happen. The price acts as a real-time forecast. By removing the house and relying on thousands of traders to set the price, these platforms successfully turned any difference of opinion into a tradable financial asset. There is a specific academic theory driving these platforms, called the wisdom of crowds. The premise is that a large group of people is collectively smarter than any single expert. In the 1980s, a Columbia business professor ran a classic experiment. He showed his class a jar of jelly beans and asked them to write down their best guess. The group's average guess was consistently more accurate than almost every single individual in the room. Prediction markets take this concept and add a financial incentive. When participants have their own money on the line, they are pressured to conduct rigorous, data-driven research rather than responding with their emotions. We saw this play out in recent high-stakes political elections. By tracking where the actual money was flowing, these markets predicted the winners more accurately than legacy pollsters. The mechanics work for gathering information, but applying this logic to every aspect of human life without regulatory guardrails risks treating geopolitical reality like an unregulated casino. If you want the most accurate prediction of an upcoming event, your market actively rewards people with inside information for placing trades. This scatter plot shows a distinct cluster of 152 accounts, labeled orcas, in the top right. Researchers found these traders bet on classified U.S. military secrets, resulting in $8 million in profit and a 97% win rate. Watch as these lines connect the orcas to thousands of other accounts. Deep-pocketed whales and automated bots instantly copycat these winners. When an insider bets on a military strike, that signal is immediately broadcast to the entire globe. In one case, an anonymous user placed a series of highly specific bets totaling $30,000 just hours before the news broke that the United States captured Nicolas Maduro. They walked away with a $400,000 payout. In the traditional stock market, using non-public information is a crime. On a prediction market, insider trading on war and geopolitics is the engine that generates the platform's accuracy. But this vulnerability extends far beyond just military intelligence. Because these platforms offer highly specific, low-volume markets, everyday events are now subject to the same potential for manipulation. During a recent White House press briefing, users were betting on exactly how long the session would last. The press secretary abruptly left the room just seconds before the 65-minute mark, perfectly aligning with a specific payout threshold. This dynamic creates a highly perverse incentive. The mere presence of a bettable market gives insiders a financial reason to deliberately change their behavior at work just to cash out. When people can profit off assassination, global war and conflict, or a simple press briefing, the market effectively transitions from a forecasting tool to a reward system for people who can manipulate reality. In 2003, the US government actually attempted to build a similar system. The intelligence community proposed a policy analysis market to crowdsource forecasts on Middle Eastern geopolitics. The project included proposed contracts on missile launches and assassinations. It faced immediate public backlash, with politicians like Senator Ron Wyden condemning the program as a grotesque betting parlor on atrocities. The government scrapped the project within a day. 2 decades ago, society rejected a federal attempt to financialize tragedy. Today, private tech companies have built that exact machine. Now, federal regulators are stepping in. The Commodity Futures Trading Commission is attempting to establish jurisdiction over this multi-billion-dollar space. The agency is proposing a special rule that draws a hard ethical line. It would explicitly ban contracts involving terrorism, assassination, war, and illegal gaming. The CFTC will still allow markets that offer legitimate commercial utility or economic hedging. For example, contracts based on massive entertainment or sporting events, like the Super Bowl, would remain legal to trade. The creators of these platforms are fighting back in court. They maintain their vision to eventually financialize everything and turn every difference of opinion into a tradable asset. As these platforms continue to grow, the legal boundaries established today will determine how they operate. If we do not decide which parts of reality are...
If it's hard to hear, just read it. You know what I mean? That's why I put the letters on there. I gotta fix that.
Affluence, bliss, yes, altruism, unity.
Make sure y'all get y'all tickets. If you are not in New York City, be on the live stream, be in the building. Like I said, I got a whole entire lecture that we'll be laying out. This is just the hors d'oeuvres. This is just to get everybody familiar about what a prediction model is and what a prediction market is. But this rabbit hole goes very, very deep, and we could get very deep with it. We could go scientific with it. Like, we could really go you know what I mean? For all of my blurs out there, we could really go down a rabbit hole with this one.
Unity, wholeness, precision, authentic love, harmony, healing, activation, tranquility, resilience, consistency, vitality.
So when I introduce you to the sister that built us one, there's more appreciation and more understanding and overstanding as to what she did and the power of what it is that she did, right? And the power of what it is. So we have prophets amongst us. We have soothsayers amongst us. We have truth tellers amongst us. We have people who are fortune tellers amongst us. It could be proven now. No more speculation. That shit is out the window. No more speculation. I'm not doing it. You could do it. I ain't doing it. I'm like, what's your poly market score? I'm not doing it. You could, if you like that, if you really like that, then you get rich, Biff from Back to the Future. Get rich, Biff. You know what I mean? If you really like that, then there's nothing else to say. There's nothing else to say. Make it be known.
The rightful ruler's back. Ruler's back. Ruler's back. Ruler's back. Ruler's back. Ruler's back.
Anyone with a smartphone and a digital wallet can now place real money wagers on the timing of military strikes, the survival of celebrity marriages, and even the return of religious figures. The platforms handling these wagers, places like Kalshi and Polymarket, are processing billions of dollars in trading volume every single month. Major news networks and financial institutions are broadcasting these betting odds as a new baseline for facts. They treat the numbers less like casino payouts and more like a verified consensus. This system turns human uncertainty into a tradable commodity. Every speculative thought is integrated into a volatile feedback loop known as the prediction economy. Unlike a traditional sportsbook, there is no house taking the other side of your wager. The system is entirely peer-to-peer, matching buyers who believe an event will happen with sellers who believe it won't. In this environment, price equates to probability. If a contract for a specific event costs 60 cents, the market is declaring a 60% chance that the event will happen. This relies on the wisdom of crowds theory. It suggests that aggregating thousands of dispersed, independent opinions produces a forecast more accurate than any single expert. But the actual user base on these platforms doesn't always reflect that academic ideal. The apps are currently flooded with sports bettors and crypto speculators chasing a quick payout for entertainment. With all that retail money pouring in, it's unclear if the system is distilling objective truth or if it is simply providing the money needed for a very select group of professionals to profit. The statistical breakdown of these platforms reveals a sharp divide. Roughly 71% of average retail users, the dumb money, consistently lose their wagers. The predictive power often cited by these platforms comes from a tiny 3% fraction of highly skilled professional traders and automated bots. Because there is no house, every dollar earned by that top tier is extracted directly from the pockets of the less experienced users. It is a strictly zero-sum ecosystem. The accuracy of these markets is a byproduct of this extraction. The truth machine is funded by the financial losses of the average participant. While the stock market strictly prohibits trading on non-public information, prediction platforms often treat insider trading as a tool to sharpen their numbers. Researchers have identified anonymous Orca wallets, accounts that materialize just in time to place highly successful bets on classified military movements or niche geopolitical shifts. This can be seen in high-stakes examples like the capture of Nicolas Maduro. An anonymous trader made hundreds of thousands of dollars by securing a position just hours before the news was made public. By offering a financial payout for secrets, the market incentivizes people with privileged information to leak their knowledge through trades. This forcing mechanism is what moves the price toward the reality of the situation. Rewarding insiders produces a fast forecasting tool, but it also creates a vulnerability. It leaves the public perception of reality open to manipulation by those with the earliest access to the facts. This leads to a conceptual trap known as reflexivity. It is the idea that the mere act of pricing a future event can change the likelihood of that event actually happening. The cycle begins in the market. A single wealthy trader can drop millions to artificially boost a candidate's odds, a tactic used to create the appearance of a tightening race as far back as the 2012 election. News organizations pick up the signal. By treating the market price as an objective poll, they broadcast those inflated odds, framing a financial gamble as a shift in voter momentum. Donors, campaign managers, and voters react to that broadcast. Their behavior shifts, not because the political reality changed, but because the market suggested it had. The loop closes. A financial bet successfully altered human behavior on a mass scale, using the market to manufacture the very reality it was supposed to be predicting. This technology alters the way the public interacts with time. Participants are shifting from passive observers of the future into strategic actors with their net worth tied to the outcome. Putting a price on human suffering creates a perverse alignment between profit and tragedy. When a trader earns a windfall from a military escalation, their financial interests begin to align with the occurrence of that violence. This makes it necessary to separate the price of an event on an app from the objective truth. One is a measure of capital influence. The other is a measure of what is actually happening. If we treat market prices as an inevitable guide, we shift the power of choice to the highest bidder. The events that define our shared world become subject to the influence of those with the money to skew the numbers.
Make sure y'all tap in, y'all. Saturday. Sack per day. Doors open at 7 p.m. Show starts at 8. Goes until it's over. We're looking at maybe a midnight. Maybe the midnight. But we're going to teach more about this. We're going to learn more about this. We're going to become a lot more hip to what's going on out there. Okay? Shout out to Father Rich on the beat. So with that being said, we have a guest in the building, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to bring up my first guest for this evening. Let me know how y'all like the this format. When it's over with, give me a little feedback. I'm going to do a little vote and whatnot. I'm going to throw a poll up there, and y'all let me know how we doing with this format, all right? So without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I want to bring to the stage a good brother, a comrade, a brother who has been extremely loyal and consistent. He's loyal to the soil, you know what I mean? He's loyal to the program. The brother's been very consistent and persistent to the point that he's already logged in 700 plus episodes, maybe even more. My numbers may be off. I'm gonna let him tell it, right? The owner, the proprietor of Do the Knowledge Radio, our good brother, Knowledge Born Allah. Peace.
Peace to the family. In
Peace
the
to the
words of the
family.
pillars, peace to you
Huh?
and yours.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Glad to be
What's
here.
good with you, my brother?
I'm glad to be here with you once again. For the record, the family, Red Pill was there at episode 1 of Do Not Radio 11 years ago, over 4,000 episodes. I got
Wait,
started with KTL.
wait. You said what? 4,000? I said
Yes, sir.
700.
Yeah, I was about to add a caveat to that. I got started when y'all hit 750.
Right, on
when
Blog
when
Talk, right?
yeah, when I got started, y'all was at 750. Like I was a listener. You understand? So I want the family
Yes.
to understand the power of uh invitation through consciousness. You know what I'm saying? So the pillars, the pillar dynasty, I call them, have been giving us direct to consciousness, interactions for I don't know how long. You understand what I'm saying? So I went from a listener to KTL on Tuesdays and Fridays. You understand what I'm saying? To starting my own platform, unbeknownst to me that it was the same platform that everybody else was using. You understand what I'm saying? We was on the West Coast. We had the West Coast House of Consciousness. Shout out to my brother YG Preach. You understand what I'm saying? We did some
YG,
epic
what up, YG?
collaborations, out there. And this was just a further step. We were already working in the community, and we came up with the idea to reach more people. So I did the knowledge. You understand what I'm saying? Did the knowledge and seeing Blog Talk was the best hosting site at the time, and unbeknownst to me, KTL was already had the KTL universe popping over there. You see what I'm saying? Or the Ledge. Them and Michael Imhotep, African History Network, and also Miss Blue, crowning glory in regards to that digital space. And our brother Red Pill was the first one to let us know years ago on my platform that the revolution would be digitized. And look at where we're living at right
That
now. So,
part. Yo, that's crazy that you brought that up because I had mentioned Nicholas, right? I mentioned Monique and Nicholas and them being the venue that was able to house my Fear of a Blackamoor Messiah.
yes,
That was on
game
10
changer.
10 16, October
Yes.
the 10th, 2016. We predicted that Donald Trump was going to be the president. We
Hmm.
predicted that the quote unquote the the race murders.
Hmm.
We show proof on how they were going to be continuing with this quote unquote race I don't know what to call it, but lynchings. Let's just
Right.
say lynchings and whatnot. And yeah, man, and the evolution will be digitized. I think I did that on Sinetta TV a year before that. And I
Hmm.
remember coming on your platform and we were basically rallying up the troops for the fear of a black or more. And then we got into the digital
Yes.
bag as well. Cause you was
Yes.
a lot of people, unbeknownst to people out there, the audience in 2015 and 2016, they did not want to hear about the digital world. They didn't want to hear about digital economy. Like they were yawning and shit. The people on the platforms that I was getting on, they was like, "Oh, all right, I'll be back in 2 hours when you're finished," type shit. Like they didn't even entertain it. They did not want to hear that shit. It didn't even mean nothing to them. So thank you for showing interest because you showed passion. You showed that you was really locked in, and that meant a lot. You know what I mean? Because when you're doing events and when you're bringing out new information, you want the platform that you're bringing it out on to be basically locked in with you. You know what I mean? To be as enthusiastic as you are. You feel me? So I appreciate that.
Well, you came through at a critical time. Both you and Black Dot, Black Dot will be on. So the precursor to the event where we're all going to be, whether you're watching digitally or physically, you in the building at Nicholas. Black Dot and I and Brother Oba will be on my platform. We're doing the virtual, turn up, celebrating 11 years, 4,000 episodes of Do Now's Radio. And then bouncing over to Nicholas. You understand? Nicholas is holy ground. Nicholas is holy ground for our people and for people from around the globe. You understand what I'm saying? Nicholas has the resonance of a stopover, like people coming to 125th. The people coming from around the globe, like, okay, one of the stops we got to make. I don't know how we're gonna get there, but we gotta go to Brooklyn. You understand? We got to go to Nicholas, Brooklyn. So a staple in our community, an epicenter for consciousness, an epicenter for metaphysics, and an epicenter for our people, indiscriminate to your political, religious, or spiritual ideology. Those doors are open to you. So it's a staple, major staple.
Yeah, shout out to Monique and Nicholas. I don't know if they're
Word.
gonna. I don't. I'm not gonna speak the fate of the store, but I do know that she was in danger of closing. So I gotta talk to her when I see her and
Mhm.
whatnot. But they have another store uptown. Shout out to Papa Nicholas. They do their
Right,
thing. You feel me? They've been doing their thing for 50 years. So this is
right.
a business that's been passed down through the family. Like Monique never, she ain't had to do a resume. She inherited a whole entire business. So shout out to her pops.
I heard you before I came on. Yeah, Mira's going to college.
Oh yeah, Mir's in his second year of college, brother.
That is
This ain't
nuts.
this
I'm
ain't even
telling
his
you.
first year. He's
I'm
in his
telling
second
you.
year.
Like, growing up conscious needs to be a show. You understand? Like let's not fall for the banana in the tailpipe pause situation where we see the dissidents getting all of the like let's get into the celebration of the children who grew up conscious, the children who grew up in these environments and are going on to do great and wonderful things in life. Where's
Yeah,
that light
yeah.
at? You understand what I'm saying? Consciousness matters, like family matters. You understand what I'm saying?
Straight like that.
Like for real, because we are the progenitors of righteous consciousness. And Red, you gave the conscious community, you and your family gave conscious community a facelift and a resurgence in a time where it was supposed to be the destruction. You understand what I'm saying? It was supposed to be the destruction. After 2008, 2009, 2010, it was kind of like a little shift. You understand what I'm saying? So
It was up in the air.
yeah, so y'all gave it a resurgence, the facelift, the upgrade. You understand what I'm saying? The upgrade, and gave us initiatives. You know, no more just philosophy. You understand what I'm saying? You like, where's the initiatives to accompany your philosophy? Your philosophy is good, but how can people get busy right now? Y'all gave us the
Kinetic
get
knowledge.
busy. Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
get
Like,
busy
how
right
could we
now.
use this right now type shit? Like, how could we apply this information and use it? Like, where's the
Right,
kineticness at? So,
right,
I put my whole life in this thing, bro. I put so much. Like, I put my
right,
family in this. I put
right,
a lot. I sacrifice. Oh, I don't even think people understand how much was sacrificed. And I'll never rub it in nobody's face. That's what documentaries and that's what books are for. You feel me?
right.
When I become interesting enough to tell my story, I will tell it. But it was a struggle, bro. It was not easy. This walk was not easy. My kids seen it. That's why they
Right.
not really in love with this shit like that. Cause they seen the struggle. They seen the lack of support. They seen all of that. So they're not in love with it. You know what I mean? They're like, why are you still doing this? So, it's a labor of love.
Yeah.
You know what I
You
mean? Our
inherited it.
people need this. They're gonna thank me later though. They're gonna
Right.
see one day. They're gonna thank me later.
You inherited it from your family. You understand what I'm saying? So family tradition, this family tradition of
Yep.
uplifting fallen humanity is something that you inherited it. You know, I inherited it too. So I couldn't dodge it if I want to. Like we wouldn't have no peace otherwise. We could have found some
Look,
way. We had some time where we were
right.
sitting with our feet up, but then we
Cause
start
when I
getting
right.
hit up
Cause
like
when I
yo, like
fought it,
hmm
I fought it. It was given to me. We was gonna inherit it. And like we had the opportunity to walk into this thing in our teenager years
hmm
on guard. They was ready to give us the keys to you know what I mean? Like we
right.
were going to inherit the kingdom. Cause they were like, yo, it was a few of us. A Rashid was one of them too.
Yes. Yes.
He was there to inherit Hafisa. They was all ready to give us the kingdom, bro. But we was like, nah, we rebelled against that and we ran
hmm
to the streets. So I got my ass kicked for decades, bro,
Yeah.
until I gave in one day and submitted and was like, nah, I'm ready. I'm ready. You know what I mean? Blue was already in the whip
hmm
laughing at me and shit out the window. He seen me get my ass kicked, and I just submitted one day, and I was like, "Yo, I'm tired of this life. I'm ready to do right. I'm ready to walk in my mama's and my grandfather and my father. You know what I mean? I'm just ready to
hmm
walk in their shoes. I'm ready to pick up the mantle." And then when I did that, I ain't turned back since. Cause I can't. I really can't. Cause people don't understand. When I made that deal, I was 1 foot in the grave. So if I ever were to go back, I gotta go back to the grave. You know what I'm talking
Right.
about? Like I'm not.
Right.
I can't walk away from this and walk into a paradise. Nah, y'all don't understand. The gates were closing on my neck.
Right.
I was out of lives in the video game. I was on one life with like
hmm
20% health left. I was
hmm
done. Then I was like, you know what? I don't want to die. I'm not ready to die. I'm going to live my purpose. You feel me? And then soon after
Right.
that, my son was born, the same son that we talking about, and he solidified that. When I seen his eyes open up, and I was like, oh shit, what the, you know what I mean? Like I was not
hmm
prepared. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You feeling the baby kicking in the stomach. You see that there's something inside of that belly because it's big as hell, but I had no idea a whole life was coming out and it's my life, it's part of my life. Like that changed everything for me, bro. That wiped my whole entire hard drive clean.
hmm Now
That
look
check.
at the
Yeah.
spin. All of the preparation, right? You didn't veer off your path. You was being prepared and fortified for it, even unto 1 foot in the grave. You understand what I'm saying? So in that
Yeah.
space, you could deal with anything that comes along with it. You understand what I'm saying? A lot of people not built like you built. They would have crumbled. They would have folded. You understand? So now you there to show that there's life after. You understand what I'm saying? There's life after. There's an ascension, and then your Amir comes as a testament. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Of true life after. So the reward, because we dealt with the rewards and the punishment system, justice, your penalty or reward, depending upon what your ways and actions. So we were out there after it. We were seeking it. You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't for us. It was a testament to be a testimony to others. So when you see somebody in a like-minded position, you got that special grip. You got that lion's paw. You understand what I'm saying? To raise them up from a dead state. You understand what I'm saying? A state of unawareness. So that's what you devoted the rest of your life to. You understand what I'm saying? So our family, they see the things the world don't see. So they're kind of jaded with it. But once they reap, they'll see the
That's the word,
benefits.
jaded.
they'll reap the benefits of the bountiful harvest. You see what I'm saying? Everybody not out there with the farmer, but everybody pulling up. When the fruits go to market. You understand what I'm saying? They're like, yo, I'm saying I need that zucchini. Son, what's good? You understand what I'm saying? So I need that Blackamore Messiah 5. You know what I'm saying? What's up? Like, whoa, whoa, whoa. You know what I mean? So they come for that work. They come for that cloth. You understand what I'm saying? So
Yes.
the benefits outweigh, but and it's the ebb and the flow. So all of that was preparation for the nation that you building, the nation that you built in your imagination, because y'all gave us that first. Don't let anybody run off with that like they came up with it. I'm saying y'all gave us an imagination and then poured it out of our minds and consciousness and said, okay, we got initiatives to couple with that. Let's go build something. Let's go create something. You understand what I'm saying? So from direct to consciousness to direct to reality. You understand what I'm saying? So dope, man. Dope, dope. Yeah, I went in the military. I went through all of the every other route you could go through to strive to go away from whatever this purpose is, but it was all purposeful and it was all by design. There was no mystery God and none of it. I was told from the time I was 4 years old the path that I would walk on. So there was no surprises. You understand what I'm saying? There were no surprises. I just had my own little spaces, and then later on reflecting on it, like, yo, this is what it is. You understand what I'm saying? Like I presented my mother to the world, and she was on top of the world, and she was called back to the ancestral realm. You know what I'm saying? I was broken. You understand what I'm saying? I was broken. I had to find my voice. I had to find my being, my entire being together, and Duna's Radio became something that I could be a voice for the voiceless because I was voiceless at the time. You understand what I'm saying? So after completing that cipher, now Duna's Radio stands as the voice for the voiceful. If you're voiceless, you can't apply no more. You understand what I'm saying? Once you pass that cipher and then you go into the next chamber, this new chamber of knowledge for the adept, you have to be voiceful. You can't be bringing voicelessness to the people. You understand what I'm saying? It has to be an abundance that comes out of your being that permeates and resonates because we're going into a cycle of abundance. We went from a cycle of lack and scarcity to a cycle of abundance. Are you prepared mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually? You know what I'm saying? So that's what we're doing.
Super facts. Super facts. Did you happen to see the situation in Nepal today? In Nepal, the flood?
No, I seen yesterday that the current count was as of yesterday 150 hurricanes and something like 50 earthquakes happened. You understand
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like, yeah, like all over the place. And then these rolling blackouts that they're reporting as outages that they're localizing in certain areas, but it's
Yes.
permeating throughout the United States. So in the mission of honoring Mike, Gary's on the radar. You understand what I'm saying? Gary's on the radar, on the precipice of Hurricane Katrina. It's on the radar. Like all these things are
That's
happening.
August the
So
28th, right?
29th, yeah,
The
29th,
29th. I remember
right?
that day clearly.
Yeah, yeah.
And we're gonna be celebrating Mike in Brooklyn. That's crazy that you brought that up. Spike
Mm-hmm.
Lee is doing a big ass block party in Fort Greene Park on Saturday, the same day that we are hosting Ros Ben. And Gary, Indiana is home of the Jacksons, not just Mike, but the entire entourage. Joe, Catherine, Janet, Latoya, Tito, Jermaine, Mike, the whole Grandy, the whole gang. And his energy is going to permeate through that park and through vessels, right? I saw clips of children. I'm talking about they got TikTok 10-minute videos on God, 10-minute
Right.
of little children straight breaking down, crying, going through it, bro. When they realize Micah's not here.
Right.
3-year-olds, 5-year-olds, 7-year-olds. They like, wait, mommy, what you mean Michael Jackson is dead? Breaking down. Let's not even talk about the ones that are dancing to the music
Right.
and the ones that are in
Soothing.
love with
Yeah.
the music and the
Yes.
ones that are straight infatuated with the man that is known as Michael Jackson. But the one when they find out that he's no longer that he's an ancestor, they got a whole 10-minute full of TikToks with these children are literally going through emotions, yo. So if he live in my heart, in your heart, and my mama's heart, and he's also living in babies' hearts, this is not no regular person, y'all. This is messianic energy on fleek. This is what the Blackamoor Messiah. This is what that energy evokes, right? And then when you get into the Book of Enoch, and when you get into the biblical narrative, Mikael and everything, like it goes there.
Bobby
It
gave it
goes
to
there.
us. Bobby Hemming gave
So
it to us.
Saturday will be a mystical event for me. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to treat that as a mystical, spiritual event. That's not a block party. You feel me? That's a coronation. You
Right.
know. So yeah, I look forward to that.
Yeah, and Spike, for all intents and purposes, gave one of the best breakdowns and documentaries of Hurricane Katrina in essence. You understand what I'm saying? So all of
Yes.
these things kind of culminate all together. You know what I mean? So that was one of those. And I believe Bobby gave the greatest, breakdown and decoding of Mike's life with
Woo,
his
man, he
words.
did.
And the minister had some wonderful things to say, but Bobby gave it all the way through the industry and all of that. Dick Gregory added a caveat. You understand what I'm saying? But Bobby gave that who Archangel Michael was and is. You understand what I'm
Yes.
saying?
The
And
the the occult,
yes,
esoteric, metaphysical breakdown that
yes,
nobody could do like a Bobby. I don't know. I'm not saying no one is qualified, but it was almost like Cinderella's foot in that shoe.
right,
It just fit right in there.
right.
And he did not disappoint at all, you
One
know?
hundred percent. 100%. So we we got to go back and look at these. We got to go back and curate them. We got to go back and break things down. People are looking for things that are ahead. You got to go back in order to see them. So what you were just breaking down earlier before I came on in regards to this model that y'all going to be breaking down, on the strong end, is deep because it puts to bed a lot of the things that we had that we thought were just colloquialism. All the original man, predicts his history 25,000 years in advance. Yes, yes. Now the technology is striving to catch up to what your mind can already produce. You understand what I'm saying? So you're dealing with an age. You start dealing with an age, or you start dealing with a time period of 25,000 years in advance. What does that mean? You understand what I'm saying? Like, what does that mean? How can you quantify it? How can you qualify it? So the astrologers have a modality. The scientists have another modality. So all of the things that we have been learning over the years have not been in vain. It just wasn't the time for them to be actualized. You understand what I'm saying? So
Right.
there's an acknowledgement phase and then there's an implementation phase. You see what I'm saying? So that knowledge phase goes to that wisdom phase, and then that wisdom phase goes into the understanding phase, and the understanding phase goes into a culture phase. So what is the culture of the God mind? What is the culture of the God body? What state of mind or state of being are you in? You understand what I'm saying? And how can you predict these things in advance? You understand what I'm saying? So now
Right.
you have the ability to inform. All these things are real, So our elders, our ancestors, our parents, they had dreams, they had visions, they made prayers and provisions for us. The people who existed from time immemorial look down on a time such as now. So, what are we doing with Look at what we doing with the knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the fields. You understand what I'm saying? Look at what we
Yo,
doing. Look at what we doing with it. You
look
understand
at
what
what
I'm
we're
saying?
doing with the knowledge on everything.
Right.
Look, Spirit just came to me and was like, fam, get the Bluetooth speaker and play the Bobby lecture at the Mike Jackson shit. Walk through
There you
that
go.
bitch playing Bobby's Archangel
Yes.
shit. You might even
Yes.
put a beat on that bitch. You might put beat it on it. The beat it
Yes.
instrumentals.
Yes.
Rising power to Michael Wright.
Right.
Nights like this, I wish raindrops would fall. Nights like
He
this.
right.
The
He
legend.
gave us via the character. We know who he was, but he also represented an entire energy. You understand what I'm saying? How important the
Yes.
5 heartbeats was and the temptations. They showed us all of the pitfalls that created the entertainment industry and what comes along with success. You understand what I'm saying? What comes along with success, what come along with being at the top in these different places and spaces, and the sacrifice. You understand what I'm saying? They were like, oh, maybe he was David Ruffin. He
He was
exuded an
all of
energy,
them.
right? But he was everybody, right? He
He was
was
everybody.
that one, right? And
Right.
then they gave us Sugar Hill. Then they gave us Sugar
Woo!
Hill. You understand what I'm saying? Like real New
Woo!
York understands Sugar
Romel,
Hill. Like
my
real
nigga was scary
Romello.
in Sugar Hill.
Man, yeah.
That's
I'm telling
Romello,
you, it was
right?
beautiful. That was Ray Nathan.
But the
Yeah.
character was Romello.
Romello was Wesley.
Romello was Wesley, right?
Yeah, he was
Yo,
Ray Nathan. You see what I'm saying? Like, and he was for all intents and purposes, he was Dessalines. You see what I'm saying? His brother, was Toussaint. He was the guy that can out. You ain't gonna outthink him. You're not gonna out strategize him. You see what I'm saying? He was like, nah, this is the flavor that they savor around here. Neighbor. He came out with the tools. He had that Dessalines
lit.
energy.
Right,
He came back in the joint. You know what I'm saying? Dead it when he needed to dead it. You understand what I'm saying? Like
right.
yo, it was. I'm telling you, like it was perfect. It was perfect. It was so perfect that it was what it was. Like to show victory. You can see it in your imagination, however you want to see it, but you have to see something where you're victorious. Otherwise, you're victimized by what you see. You know what I'm saying? So he was
Say
like, he
that
was
again.
there. He was there for his brother. You have to have imagery. You have to have things where you're victorious. Otherwise, you victimized by it. You see what I'm saying? So you have to see yourself winning. You know what I mean? Like you have to see, like what
That's
my man
deep.
say. Are you saying that I could dodge bullets? And he's Morpheus said to him, I said, when you're ready, you won't have to.
Mm,
You won't have to. You understand what I'm saying? So now look at this elevation you can give to an anagram. You could give it to an anagram, but you couldn't see it in yourself. You had to see it outside of yourself. You had to see it outside of yourself happen after so many failures. Everybody falls on the first time. So everybody in there that was on his crew had the potential to be the one. Everybody. You understand what I'm saying? But
right,
everybody fell the first time. And then when he fell, it didn't matter. You understand what I'm saying? It
right.
didn't matter because everything was already in sync. So it had to happen because they would have attached something to him that he wasn't ready for. He had to come into it. You understand what I'm saying? So
Had to
just
come
like
into it.
consciousness, just like our callings and your pathway, all of those things you have to grow into them. They can be there for you. Heru lost an eye being haphazard or going too soon to seek to avenge his father. You see what I'm saying? He lost his eye and he watched his man and them get taken out by his uncle, because he thought he was going to have the drop on him. You see what I'm saying? So our consciousness works in that way where we think we're going to be able to cheat our way through because we got some advanced information. What are you going to do with it? You see what I'm saying? Like, what are you going to do with it? And who are you within yourself? You know what I mean? So the when you spoke about the polarity between those who dealing with it, I'm paraphrasing, from a righteous perspective versus those who dealing with it from a nefarious situation, they have their results. You know what I'm saying? So this model
Right,
that's being created that they utilize in the corporate structure, they had called predictive analytics. You understand what I'm saying? So the corporate
right.
structure had funded all of the other structures that exist the military industrial complex, the entertainment industrial complex, and the prison industrial complex, all where the stakeholders are there saying, oh, we need this ROI, we need this return on investment. And you were talking about Halliburton and the defense contractor. Now look at the epicenter of what you said the revolution would be digitized. It went from a petrodollar war to a technocracy sort of war that we're dealing with right now. You understand what I'm saying? The literal war for the hearts and the minds. It went from a theoretical space alone to a practical where they're data mining the
Practical,
mind.
right?
To
War
the
is not
data mining the
theoretical
mind.
anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
war is not speculative. It's not theoretical anymore. They could
Yeah.
literally pinpoint with accuracy
Mm-hmm.
the results of these wars. Operation Southern Spear, unbeknownst to a lot of people, the thing that took place in the when they were knocking off the boaters in Venezuela, the sailors in Venezuela, right? When they were bombing
Mm-hmm.
them, right?
Mm-hmm.
That right there was the beginning of the AI war. All right.
Right.
When you read the wiki on Operation Southern Spear, it's an autonomous war.
Mm-hmm.
Those drones were not manned. They were manning those drones like video games. They were
Right.
bombing them from the White House or bunkers and whatnot. Those were young kids that played video games, that play Call of
Mm-hmm.
Duty, that play GT6. You feel me? That play Man of War and whatnot. Those are the
Mm-hmm.
people that are bombing people now. That's who they're using to fly their drones and their direct energy weapons and things of that nature. That's where we're at. So they had unmanned submarines, right, which
Mm-hmm.
was in the Caribbean Ocean. Then they had unmanned drones, which was going over. They're violating the Amazon's airspace because, like, I don't know if the Amazon has a protected airspace because they're not contacted with they don't have contracts with the tribes,
Right.
right? But if you look at the map, Argentina, they're circling the Amazon, right? Through political means. So Colombia has been taken over by the right wing.
Mm-hmm.
Argentina's been taken over by the right wing. Venezuela's been taken over by the right wing. They want to move on Brazil and get them on game. But they had Bolsonaro, who was right wing, and he made an incursion into the Amazon. He was the first one, right? Ecuador, right? You know what I mean? So that whole area is being surrounded by these robber barons, and that's the last vestige of pure land, right?
Right.
That's untouched, that's unscathed. You want to talk about the pyramids in America, you want to talk about the ancient tribes in America, you want to talk about that's where they went. They in the Amazon.
Right.
That's where they didn't disappear. They in the Amazon chilling.
Mm-hmm.
They're just not fucking with the Matrix.
Right.
So in the movie Avatar, that's what we're looking at right now. And they're distracting and they're putting out so many different distractions that people will never figure that out. They just think that they want to extract oil in a president. And it's like, nah, they're trying to take the equivalent of the size of Africa
Right.
right out of the backyard and whatnot. That's their ultimate play. So Operation Southern Spear, yeah, that's when they put Skynet and all of that. They started turning the robots into war machines.
Right. And then
No,
showed you War Machine. And then
then
just
showed you war
showed you
machine.
Spider Man. Look at the ability for how they vilify the consciousness still. They vilify the consciousness still. Like they'll show you this new Spider Man. Like they just showed you the the new Spider Man, and they like, yo, who messing with Spider Man this whole movie? And it's the Phoenix. You understand what I'm saying? The Phoenix is a villain. The Phoenix is the. I said, how did you make this happen? How do you like? But that manipulation, that beautiful sleight of hand, on how it goes in regards to it, because they just did the long way home where they brought back all of the Spider-Man, and that goes to what you were saying about the structure in regards to this predictive model that's there. They got rid of the Spider-Mans because of a actual real life litigation process between Disney and Sony and who owns the rights, and Marvel who owns the rights to Spider-Man. You understand what I'm saying? So you didn't see
Yes.
Blade for years because they didn't own the rights. So once they settle, boom, you see Blade pop back up. So they freaked it and show all of the variations that
They
they
asked
use
them.
for every
Yeah, they
actor
asked.
that they
They
had.
asked Blade. They asked that they was gonna develop it. They had all of these fans on the gates. You know, Marvel done axed
Yeah,
all of the black movies out of there.
right,
Disney, that is, not even
right,
Marvel. Disney, they axed all of the black movies, so they ain't doing none of that.
right.
But that's a good thing because, like I was telling somebody the other day, I was like, yeah, you know, that Odyssey shit was cute with Christopher Nolan saying that he didn't use AI. But I
Hmm.
saw that bitch on the IMAX under I was on 3.5 at IMAX. I'm like, what if he did use AI? Fuck you mean?
Right,
They be trying to flex like, yeah, I shot this all on my personal camera and I didn't use AI. Yeah, that's cute, but that shit was boring. What if you used AI, you weird ass
right,
nigga? What would it have been then? What would the Odyssey have been if you put 100 million in the AI special effects?
right,
On you had the nerve to have us in IMAX and you not using AI, you weirdo. What are you talking
right,
about? Give me my money back. So with all of that Marvel, they acting cute and everything, that's just gonna leave room for real movies to come out. You
right,
know what I mean? A real black ass Blade,
right.
a real turned up superhero. Because to be honest with you, if anybody watched the Amazon series The Boys, all season 5 with Homelander and
Hmm.
A Train and all of them,
Right,
you're not gonna watch anything that the Avengers can do or Spider. Nothing that Marvel or DC comes out with is entertaining anymore.
right,
That's like they destroyed that universe by coming out with superheroes that be killing niggas.
right, right. And that's the
Superheroes that's
part
out
where
there
they only
smacking
went
bellies and whatnot, and Kurt's
right,
and
right,
Robin shit. You don't want to
yeah,
see that Marvel thing is dead now. It's like
right.
y'all not dark enough.
That's real. And they had they had the Punisher in there like a sucker. You understand what I'm saying? Like under no, like like it
He
was
ain't punishing
craziness,
shit.
right? Yeah, he's not doing Punisher. You know what I'm saying? So like the thing was they still win when it looked like they lose. You see what I'm saying? So they act like they didn't have the rights and all that, and they was going through all that litigation. They just made other Spider-Mans, and then I'm sitting in the movie theater with my sons, and every generation is cheering for their Spider Man. When you know what I mean, on a long way home, the multiverse situation, and then they went through the
Hmm.
multiverse, and everybody's cheering for their Superman and their Batman and all that. Like they really put it all together to where it's like, all right, we flipped the script. We flipped the script. You watch Flash. He's trying to save his mother. He going through all of these iterations, and he stopped by himself. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
so, with all of the abilities to be able to do all of these things, I agree with you wholeheartedly to see what this means on the next level. You see what I'm saying? Like on this next level type of situation, what can be created uh via Allah's intelligence or what we call an artificial intelligence. You understand what I'm saying? We dealing with Allah's intelligence from that way. Like how could something exist without this, you see what I'm saying, preset in regards to it, or ancestral intelligence, I call it. You understand what I'm saying? One way or the other,
Right.
there's insight. You see what I'm saying? Because there's no way uh, that a mathematical computation machine can be telling you things about you. You understand what I'm saying? So something else is
Right.
getting tapped into. The akashic. You understand what I'm saying? So there's a point where things can go, and then there's a point where things can't go. You know what I mean? Like there's a point where people can go, and there's a point where people can't go. You understand? So they gotta
Good with
wait.
that.
Like Dot always used to say, boom, they gotta ride a wave up out of here. So this is a wave. So, they got a place in darkness to create a wormhole situation. How you talk with the crisis produces the Christ. The Christ figure comes up out of the crisis. So the crisis is created. They thinking, okay, these cats and Gary gonna be taking each other out. They was like they felt more love than they ever felt, and they said this is the old Gary coming back. You
Right.
understand what I'm saying? Like this is
Right.
the old Gary coming back. They cooking out, everybody feeding everybody,
They
everybody
chilling,
checking on
right.
everybody.
They looking
Right,
out for each other. They having cookouts in Gary,
Word.
Indiana. The neighborhood is coming back together. Them
Yes.
damn phones went off, and
Right.
people started realizing that they was human again. So
Right.
while people are like, "Oh, it's a tragedy," and go and talk to the people in Gary, Indiana. Yeah, it was uncomfortable, but
Right.
when I'm seeing reports from Gary, they like, "Yo, guess what? We chilling. We chilling.
That's
Fuck
right.
you talking about? We
Right.
outside. We not on the phone. The babies is
Right.
playing,
Right.
and the grannies and the aunties is safe.
Right.
You feel me? Not to say that it wasn't a tragedy that people didn't pull up. Trade of Truth was the only
Right.
one I seen when you could have a multitude of people just pulling up to be a part of the block party. What about a free concert?
Right.
With all of you, what you know what I mean? What about a free show? What about something? I don't know. I'm just
Right.
saying, I'm what I'm doing is I'm being proactive to make sure that I don't have to go through, that when shit go down, we gonna have a party. When shit go down, we gonna be all right. We gonna be protected. We're gonna be nourished.
Right.
We gonna be quenched. We're gonna be hydrated. I'm making sure of that. And I'm not waiting for nobody, and I don't give a fuck if nobody do it with me. I'm gonna do it. If it's just me by myself, you know what I'm talking about? But I'm gonna make sure that it happens because I don't need to keep seeing signs to know what I'm looking at. But what I'm ultimately looking at beyond the government ain't coming to get you is fuck the government. We don't need to be governed. We don't need to be under their jurisdiction. We don't need to be in their hamster wheel. We don't need to be in their municipalities anymore. We don't need to be inside of their system. That's what I'm getting. And it's going to take a hurricane or a blackout to show you that. That's ultimately what I'm walking away from. Niggas could sustain themselves, still being on this land without being fugitives, without being on a run. You don't got to be a runaway slave, footless in a forest and whatnot. You literally could be in a barnarium. You literally could be on mad acres, and you could be protected, and you could be chilling, and you could be out the way. That's what I'm looking at.
Yeah, we're gonna be all right.
You
You
know,
understand what I'm saying? That's the anthem. We're gonna be all right. We're gonna make it. You understand what I'm saying? Like we left alone, we make anything happen. You understand what I'm saying? Like that's it. Like that's another model. Give me a few minutes. Uninterrupted. Nobody come over here bothering. Nobody come over here with the you understand what I'm saying? So it's like, all right, that happened. That happened. That happened in a few seconds. You see what I'm saying? We know survival. We know tactical training. We know all of these things, right? So how do you make them born in a way that's not militaristic towards your people? You see what I'm saying? Whoever your people are. You know what I'm saying? Like right there, like okay, we got this water. All right, let me show you how to purify it. You know what I'm saying? Like all right, boom, this is it. This is what we dealing with. Wherever we at, we have the mind and the know-how and the will. You see what I'm saying? To forego creature comforts for something greater, now and the later. You understand what I'm saying? So definitely, yeah, one
so
hundred
my
percent.
good brother, I know that you've been doing your thing with your platform. You know what I mean? You've been handling business, and you've been creating not just content, but you've been creating products, and you've been creating quote unquote a library, especially nowadays where there's two things that people are responding to, right? Because that's where we're at these days. It's what do you respond to? Forget about everything else. What are people responding to? You know what I'm saying? That should be the metric and whatnot. So people are responding to the book destroying that is taking place with Anthropic and the AI companies, that they're destroying millions and millions and millions of books because of a legal loophole that says if they scan the book, they have to destroy it. And also, there's this thing about children not being able to read across the board and whatnot. There's this thing with literacy in the young children because of the ways that the public fool system has sabotaged them and basically have derailed black teachers who wanted to come and teach these children the right way. They wanted to bring curriculum the right way. They wanted to teach them about their history, and they were getting fired. They were getting blocked. They were getting pushed out of the way and everything. So now these children are in danger of not being able to read, because if you can't read, it's going to be hard to comprehend people who can read, right? So my question to you is, can you share with the family what some of the solutions that you went ahead and embarked upon?
That's beautiful. I'm actually gonna be speaking about that tomorrow with my sister Mawu. That was the topic she brought up. She's like, we're going back to school and they're talking about this literacy rate, and they were showing the video of the teacher in tears, just upset about the classroom and all of that.
Right.
It's a propaganda war. You understand what I'm saying? The propaganda war. Um, I don't. How you make someone who is in opposition to you, you you uh you don't allow them to read, right? Or you
Right.
control what they read. You understand what I'm saying? So I ain't want to use the T word over here, but that's it's part of the profile. You see what I'm saying? Illiterate, So that literacy rate, that not literate space, again, that's one part. The other layer is, do they like what they're looking at? Do they like what they're learning? Do they like the person who's presenting this information to them? Are they in tune with them? You understand what I'm saying? Or do they see a deficit? Do they see something that's working against them in their detriment? Or do they realize they in the public food system and this is for suckers? So in rebellion to that, they don't want to even ingest that. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
they like
like a lot of these things, like we wasn't having it. We wasn't having certain stuff. You understand what I'm saying? Like we wasn't
right.
having certain stuff. Like yeah. So these are our generations. These are the children that's coming after, and each generation that comes after got less and less propensity for the BS. You see what I'm saying? So it's like so like yo, this is a joke. I didn't heard y'all say public food system, and then y'all mad at me because I'm rebelling. This is my rebellion sort of space. But they had already socialized and associated low literacy rates with a badge of honor in a lot of these places, especially through the television show. Like you go all the way back to Highway to Heaven. This dude uh, was supposed to be this super duper basketball star, and then he couldn't play basketball no more. Then you find out he couldn't read. How he get through all of them classes? He's in college and he can't read. You understand what I'm
Right.
saying? So they showed the thing with Theo Huxtable and him being dyslexic, and all of these things that are there. They kept showing them through the years, through the mind mapping to say, okay, if you're an athlete or if you got money, it don't matter if you can read. You understand what I'm saying? Or you in this entertainment industry, it don't matter if you can read. Like so, all of these things they show, and these become a thing where not only are you not interested in reading, you like, yo, they getting to the bag. I'm trying to get to the bag. I don't care nothing about any of this reading comprehension stuff you talking about. When I'm gonna use that in life. You see what I'm saying? And it's not being made plain to them because you got folks that are in the classes that are supposed to be facilitating these learning environments that are incentivized and weaponized by their student loan debt. So if you go do a couple year bid as a teacher, your debts get forgiven. So you don't care whether these people, these
But
children learn or
listen,
not.
yeah, but look, when they listen to the
Hmm.
rappers can't read and they don't sound
Right.
articulate. You got people like T.I. and some of these people down south. They
Right.
they they have black sense.
Yeah.
They speak in black sense, bro.
Hmm.
Lotto, Ti, they don't like they speak ignorant on purpose. They speaking in
Hmm.
black sense. So when they listen to the reality show, they not speaking. They're not speaking like they're articulate.
Right.
So the children are seeing people win and got money phones in it. Look at Kodak Black. They got money
Right.
phones. They got diamond teeth and whatnot. They flooded
Hmm.
with Mosanites, and they like, yo, I don't speak. I'm speaking Ebonics or whatever that black accent is on purpose. Like that's a badge of honor. Like that's yeah. I'm
Right.
I'm I'm so black. I'm so indigenous that I don't want to speak the Queen's English. And it's
Right.
like, yeah, that's a cute. You know what I mean? Like that's a backwards flex.
Right.
That's a backwards flex. The real flex is when you can outwit these quote unquote the queen and all of the kings that speak English. The real flex is when you're wise as a serpent. The real flex is a wise man could play a dumb man. You could play a fool, but a fool can't play a wise man. So they're not teaching the children that. Like, wisen up. Yeah, you could play dumb. We play dumb all the time. It's all good. But you could code switch backwards. You know what I mean? But if you don't have no card to pull from, and you only got to rely on street smarts, and you only got to rely on what the rappers taught you, you in trouble, bro.
Right.
You're gonna be in a little bit of trouble in this society we're in right now. So let them know what you got going on.
So I got one of the volumes up if you can share it on your end. I came up with 13 books and counting. 13 books dedicated, to those of our young people and those of our family, to have some family discussions in regards to literacy. I did the
Dope.
research for you. I did the work for you, and I revamped them over the years. To make sure it's more appealing to what the eye is. The eye is looking at this now. I had the other pictures on there and all this other stuff. I was like, it's not attractive to the eye now. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So the eye is looking, and this is the expectation that it looks like this. So how are you using your voice? So each book has a soundtrack. You understand what I'm saying? And a video, and it's packed full of visuals. You see what I'm saying? So, this joint has, our good brother Tahir RBG, you know what I'm saying, cut the devil head off. This is Voices
Shout out
of
to my
the
guy.
Diaspora, volume 9. We eliminating procrastination and all the things that are barriers and blockages. We cutting them off. You understand what I'm saying? We're cutting them off. So this is Voices of the Diaspora Volume 9. I have a 9-volume series and 4 standalone volumes dedicated to every aspect of what we want our tomorrow to look like while sowing the seeds for today. You see what I'm saying? So Voices of the Diaspora Volume 9, Mastering the Craft of Telling your own black story, your own story. Your story is
Can you flip
important.
through some of the pages?
Of course. When I went to see you in the KTL. You understand what I'm saying? Because it's the KTL
Yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
That's,
I told the crowd in a call and response fashion. Your first story is your birth story. You understand what I'm saying? And
right.
they responded. So we're working from that space. So your birth story becomes your origin story in the physical world. You existed,
Uh,
far beyond that reach, but your physical world, like, what's your origin story? Like, y'all heard my mother tell my origin story. You understand what I'm saying? I was born 3 months premature. Doctors tried to experiment on me in the hospital. I was like, damn, I sound like a comic book. You understand what I'm saying?
right.
So literally, born 2.5 pounds, went down to a pound and a half. All kinds of situations in
Mm,
Beth Israel Hospital. You understand what I'm saying? So, what's your story? How is your story being told? You see what I'm saying? Who's in charge of your story? Who's in charge of your narrative? Is it you? Or are you relying on somebody else to give you some fair weather description? Like, yeah, I knew son, you know what I'm saying? Like, son wasn't really all that like he was purporting. You know how they do. They kick you when you down and high five you when you up. You understand what I'm saying? So all of the
hmm.
pictorial images go to this space. So if you're excited about seeing visuals of yourself, if you want something that's image rich and has resources for you to be able to do what you need to do, if you are an entrepreneur, I got a whole volume that's 90 something pages for you. Volume 1. You understand what I'm saying? If you're trying to re-image and reinstill into the mind of our youth that you ain't going nowhere without no black women. You understand what I'm saying? Or original women. I got volume 2 dedicated to that. You see what I'm saying? If you are a thought leader, if you are a change agent, I got volume 3 and 4 to give you case study on those who were young people at the time became change agents in their time. You understand what I'm saying? And you could look at those models to see if they're a successful model for you to implement. So if you look at volume 6, the content creators, the storytellers, which is a caveat to volume 6 kind of goes together, like Matrix 1 and 3, right? So, or 2 and 4, however it goes, right? So volume 6 deals with the content creators, the entrepreneurs in that particular space, which is a caveat to this volume. Who's in control of your narrative. Volume 7 deals with our education system, our educators. We ain't got to go all the way to anywhere to get philosophers, to get scientists, to get
Right.
someone with profound thought. We can go right to where we are. You see what I'm saying? So
Right.
volume 7 deals with our educators throughout time. Volume 8 deals with beyond the battlefield. We're talking about this war space, but what happens after we win? You understand what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
what happens? Is that even being considered? You know what I'm saying? So, see, I got Killer Priest and Nero the Four Fuji. You see what I'm saying? Collective, like one generation and the next. We heard Killer Priest on Fourth Chamber. Nero the Four Fuji. Shout out to her, amazing artist and talent. I'm gonna link y'all together, Red. Fourth
Dope.
Chamber. You see what I'm saying? She's the new version of Fourth Chamber. You see what I'm saying? So from one generation to the next, who's carrying on the traditions? Who's carrying on all of the things? You see what I'm saying? So you see it. So we used to hear them stories once upon a time. So once upon a time, once upon a time in the project, yo, you understand what I'm saying? Once upon a time, once upon a rhyme, however it goes. So however you tell your story, in what manner you do it, this is critical in regards to your own mastery, the mastery of your craft in regards to how you give it up for your offering for the future. So these volumes are here and they're available. It's 13 of them, and it's speaking to your past, present, and future. See what I'm saying? So
I
we're no
love the
longer
flip book
victimized.
game.
Yeah, I wanted it. The ebook. Look, somebody love you, they might copy the ebook on the strength, but if they're gonna go through 100 something pages, you gotta have something for them. You understand what I'm saying? You gotta have something
Right.
for them to keep them engaged. You see what I'm saying? So you got the music playing. I got a video in every joint, different colors, different imagery, all of these
We
things.
don't
You
hear
see
the
what I'm saying?
music. You know that, right?
Yeah, I didn't. I had cut it off so you could see the pages.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? So I'm just doing that real quick so you could kind of see what's going on. And again, these are all these different aspects. Each one of these volumes has something uh, tailor made, custom made. You see what I'm saying? You get here, 10 steps to publish and protect your intellectual property online. Like, we need actionable action steps. Like, it's a lot of rhetoric. They'd be like, yo, start up the LLC and you get rich. Like, nah, that ain't how it works. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you
Right.
got to know how to go and navigate through these processes. And then you can click on each of these and you can go to the website. See what I'm saying? So it's not like I did all of the heavy lifting for you. You're like, oh, what's up with this ISBN number? Oh, right here. Oh, what's ASCAP? Oh, boom, right here. Oh, what's BMI? Right here. You just click on it. You understand what I'm saying? Like, literally doing the work for you and giving you guidance for further research. See what I'm saying? Contracts, copyright, everything you need to know, royalties. You understand what I'm saying? So all of these things in regards to, action steps to build your empire, for your company, your media empire. These things are supposed to be able to survive you after you're gone. This is supposed to be a part of your inheritance for your future generation. And all of this began with your story. Your story. You see what I'm saying? So tell your
That's
story
beautiful.
and leave that legacy for your family so they ain't got to try to figure it out. You see what I'm saying? They ain't got to try to
Right.
figure it out. So they can inherit your legacy and add on to that legacy with your legacy. So when they call your name in libation, they'll call it in honor instead of repulse. You
Right.
understand? So this is it. And one of the artists I work with very closely out of the DMV area, D.O. Ashley Brown. She's on here and she's talking about speaking her vernacular. You know what I'm saying? So we got
So
all of these joints all together, research tools, items, all of that. You see what I'm saying? And it's a great gift for the family. It's a great gift for
nah, I
the
haven't
family.
seen. Yeah, that approach is real unique because I haven't seen nobody do that yet. So this approach right here with the flip book, with the flip book, and
Hmm.
it being interactive is
Right.
definitely Yeah, you had your you had your thinking hat on right there when
My
you put
tinfoil
this
hat.
one up. You feel me?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
was frying that tinfoil hat, man.
So boom,
I
you see
love it.
this right here, right? This is secure the legacy.
Oh, I need that. Hold on. I need that. We just starting our survival group called
Yeah.
Common Unity. I need that. Matter of fact, more than me just saying I need that, I want to invite you into
Hmm.
one of our sessions where you literally could teach us through this book and walk through it. Earlier
100.
today, a brother came on the show. He's teaching people how to reverse engineer cell phones. He's
Hmm.
making drones,
Hmm.
prototypes and whatnot. I got him coming through. I got brother Heru coming through to teach us how to secure land, how to day trade,
Hmm.
how to do all of that stuff so we can make
Hmm.
money off the grid. You feel
Right.
me? And now here you come with this. Everything is coming together, bro. Everything is coming
Right.
together.
Right. And salute to Professor Griff with his offering. He has a masterful offering. You understand what I'm saying? Like, many of us have been teaching survival for years. A big part and portion of Doodle Knowledge Radio was survival, was black survival, general civilization. You see what I'm saying? For the last 10 years, we had dedicated time and energy. I was in South Carolina. My children were in North Carolina, and the hurricane came. And what I taught them, they survived the blackout. They survived. You understand what I'm saying? They were able to bug
Yeah.
in the crib, and I wasn't there. You see what I'm saying? So they had bug out bags, and they were prepared in the house to survive the infirmities. You understand what I'm saying? So that's the kind of uh, mind you want to have in regards to that. You see what I'm saying? So from the trivial to the traumatic in that regard, you prepared. You know what I mean? Like, just for example, just real quick, on in this house, if you in a house or you in an apartment, how many windows do you have? Do you know?
Mm.
You understand what I'm saying? These are all points of entry and exit. So if you're in a situation, there's two of y'all in the house and y'all got 8 windows, that's 8 ways somebody can get in besides coming in the front door. Are you
Nah, I need to
prepared in
build
that
with
kind of
you.
environment? You know what I
I
mean? So,
definitely need to build with you because at the end of the day, I need to work out how I could get this to all of you know what I mean. And my
mhm.
mind is going right now. And I want to make this a part of the package. You
Yes,
know what I mean? For everybody that's pulling up, like this could be their orientation type book. This could be
right.
the instruction manuals, and it's like this is how that works.
Nope.
You go inside of your network. I don't gotta go outside of my network. You right here
Right.
doing what you do. You know what I mean? So it's like, yes, let's make that happen. But
This
leave
is
them
what
with
our
your
community
information,
was, right? This is what our
huh?
community was. This is what the conscious community was. This is what our
That's why,
foreparents had.
yeah. Look,
Yeah,
henceforth, why I call it common unity,
right.
right? Common unity, and I'm moving a little bit away from the term conscious community. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like it served its purpose. You were
Right.
there with me when it hit its
Mm-hmm.
apex 10 years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
So here we are 10 years later. Yeah, we still carrying it on our, doing what we do, but
Right.
the evolution will not be digitized.
Mm-hmm.
The evolution will not be digitized. We got to evolve. We
Right.
got to change clothes. We got to break out of skins and whatnot. So it's like, let's evolve because if we keep saying conscious community and there's no community and whatnot,
Right.
one can't be startled as to when the pillars around things, when shit start falling, when things start
Mm-hmm.
crumbling, when things fall apart. It's like, yeah, because y'all staying around too long. You standing in one place for years. You gotta
Right.
move. You gotta change clothes. You gotta let that shit go. You know what I
Right.
mean? You lose nothing by just evolving and growing into something more beneficial. I'm grown. The shit that I was doing on 125th Street 20 years ago, I ain't doing it no more. I'm not even
Right.
amused by it. I'm not,
Right.
yeah, like that shit don't even move me. If anybody was asking how to sign up to the group, then that's the email right there. All you got to do is send me your information and I will put you. We have a Google group and we have an assessment test. We moving real fast. We are
Mm-hmm.
definitely moving real fast. Shout out to everybody that signed up. Y'all can attest to that. We're gonna start assigning leaders to certain departments and whatnot, and we're gonna be doing a Zoom call. I believe on Tuesday, next Tuesday. But I got the gang, man. I got Blue Pill on board. You feel me? I got a bunch of people that are ready to go. Friday, if you're in Atlanta, we have a farming event. We have a farming event at a lady who's 81 years old. And she's basically welcoming everybody to come to her farm to help her with her of the vegetables and everything. I believe Mama Pill is gonna be there. Her name is Miss Helene, I'm sorry, and it's called Garden Queen. She's 81 years old. She's a maroon from Jamaica. And
Mm.
yeah, she's outside. You know what I mean? She got a whole garden in Atlanta. So you could tap in with me through the email and I'll give you the information on that. Before the night is over, I'll throw the flyer up. But yeah, let them know where they can find you. We have our guest in the building, our second guest, and I want to get her on the stage.
Yeah, so for the month of August and September, now I extended it to September. You can get all 13 of these books for $50. You see what I'm saying? So
Oh, that's fire.
uh and it's they're priced normally at $150. I had them on sale for for 100. Now then I broke it down for the summer literacy program, from June through August, but September is Black Reading Month. You see what I'm saying? And we right smack dab in adjacent months. I ain't want it. You know what I mean? I wanted to make
Right.
sure there was some continuity in that regard. So you can get them for $50 via Cash App, $ Knowledge Born Allow, or PayPal.me/. Duke Knowledge Radio. Honest to you, Red. Thank you for allowing me, on this illustrious platform with you and your illustrious audience. I will see you on the weekend. Strong and important. In Medina, you understand what I'm
Medina,
saying? Medina is the world. You
right. You're gonna be
understand what I'm
outside with
saying?
us. You
We
feel me?
outside, yeah, we're in the building. So,
That's what I
and I
appreciate
want
about you, man. Like you be there. You pull up. Like that's I could say that you be outside. You not one of them. You not passive with your consciousness. Like you are in the joint right there, locked in.
Mhm.
I be at concerts sometimes and I turn around and Knowledge Born is right there. Like, what's
That's
up,
it.
God? I'm like,
That's it. We in the
damn.
building. We
We
in
in
the
the
building.
building. You know what I
That's it.
mean? You like an early era AA. That's how he used to be everywhere.
Oh yeah,
I'm
A is a
everywhere. You
legend.
never there. But yeah, yeah, God, I appreciate
Word.
you, and I look forward to seeing you in the city. You know what I mean? And
Word.
yeah, we gonna build because I really need that book for my group. We're gonna work something out.
Yeah, most definitely. All right.
That's for the family in Atlanta. Take a screenshot, take a picture, and pull up and show love. You know what I mean? Get your hands in the dirt. You could walk away with products, with vegetables and fruits and whatnot, and knowledge. She's teaching very, very ancient knowledge on how to cultivate the land. And she has a lot. She has callaloo seed. I mean, she's growing Scotch bonnet. You know what I mean? Like her garden is super lit. It's one of those gardens where the bees are just hovering like hoverboards. So yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So shout out to Knowledge Born Allah once again in that powerful demonstration. A friend of the platform, a friend of KTL. Tomorrow we're gonna have Ross Ben in the building, and maybe the hottest man on the internet right now, Ra Aku. If y'all didn't see him last night on 363 Empire, make sure that you take your black ass over there and tap in because he was going nuclear. You know what I'm talking about? The title was American Gods. The Egyptian gods are the American gods. And he was going nuclear. So we doing part two mañana. Y'all make sure y'all in the building. It's gonna be an early show. I got a flight to catch. So we're gonna be on an early show mañana. Maybe even as early as noon. You feel me? So make sure y'all have your notifications on. So without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, our second guest is going to be the opener on Saturn Day. I told y'all we went from a regular Patreon event to an actual. This thing is a movement now. This is a whole entire. This is man. This I don't even know what to call it. All right, it's an event horizon. Okay, we're gonna be closing out Black Friday. I mean Black August. We're gonna be closing out the dog days of summer. We are right in the middle of Jason. You dig what I'm saying? We closing out the dog days of the summer. Labor Day around the corner. What a way! They say it's not how you start the race, it's how you finish it. We closing this damn thing with a bang. You know what I'm talking about? This sister right here, y'all may be familiar with her because she's been on the show before. I've spoken highly about her ceremonies. I was privy to being a part of the ceremony in what month was that? It was a few months ago. I went to a Iboga ceremony, and this sister was the practitioner. All right. And it was one of the best ceremonies that I and remember. I did 10 days in the jungle. You know what I'm talking about? And this event right here was better than that. You know what I mean? She's serious. She's about her business. She is a powerful, powerful medicine woman. She just came back from doing her initiation in Gabon, Africa. She'll talk to us about that. So without and believe you me, she has the formula for anybody that is brave enough and is willing enough to tap in and to create the God body. So without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I want to bring the owner of Angelic Alchemy, our good sister, Sister Ariel Williams, on the stage. Peace.
Peace and love, family. What's up? What's up? What's up?
Greetings. How you doing today?
All is well. How are you, Red?
I'm better now. We in the building. You know what I'm talking about? I was just here with one of the guards, my good brother, Knowledge Born Allah. I should have had him stick around. So I don't know if you know the brother. Have you met him before?
Nah, I haven't.
Okay, well, he has a powerful platform. He's a good brother. He does a lot of his research. A great network. So yeah, I'll definitely send him the video afterwards. But yeah, man, so good to have you here. First and
Thank
foremost,
you for
how are you
having me
doing
back.
today?
All is well. Thank you for having me, Red. It's good to be on your show. I love coming on your platform. Peace and love to the audience. Thank you all for chiming in and tuning in. We're about to definitely dive into some really powerful information. So thank you all for being present.
I couldn't agree more. I spoke to you the other matter of fact, you made a brief cameo on a Monday show with Brother Heru, the Monday Rising. I don't like to say morning, but the Monday Rising show. And yeah, you came on and you smoked that thing right there. Even to the point where one of our co-hosts, he wants to talk about bringing you on his show, good brother Anthony. So, before we even begin, can you introduce yourself to my audience? I don't want to assume that everybody's familiar with you. Let them know who you are. Let them know what it is that you do, and let them know where you're gonna be at on Saturday, August the 29th.
Okay, thank you. Peace and love. Once again, thank you for having me. I'm Ariel Williams. I'm the founder of Angelic Alchemy. I am a woman of many hats, but first and foremost, I am a forever student of nature, of life, and of the pursuit of happiness, elevation, and omnipresent awareness and oversoul embodiment. Okay, so a lot of my work is predicated around just developing different tools and strategies for us to be able to elevate in our mind, body, and spirit by way of sacred plant medicines, ancestral medicines. The slogan is Ancestral Tools for Quantum Transformation. We're in a quantum age. There's no greater time to be alive than now. So, with that, all of that being said, all of my medicines are predicated around quantum growth and quantum expansion, quantum development. So, yes, I am a medicine woman. I create my own ancestral line of alchemy and medicines. I'm known to make some very unique and powerful ancestral medicines that I source from all over the world as well. And as you mentioned, yes, I have recently taken my pilgrimage to Gabon, Africa, and initiated with the Bwiti tribe, who are the stewards of the Iboga medicine. And that was a really, really powerful experience. It was nothing short of a miracle and a blessing for me to be able to take that journey. I went over there by myself, I initiated by myself, And I came home in one piece and elevated and anointed with an even higher level of understanding of who I am and what my purpose is, and how we can all dive deeper into our oversoul and really just walking in our authenticity. So, yes, definitely glad to be here, and I'm glad to share in my knowledge and understanding of things, and just continue to ask these divine questions that lead to even bigger answers of clarity in who we are and what we're here for.
So I was privy to going on your Facebook page, and I was able to see pictures of that trip that you took to Africa. But you said Gabon, correct?
Yes.
On a scale of 1 to 10, what was the level of difficulty that you endured on that initiation? If you want to share that.
I would say a 10 for sure. It
What are
was
you
it was
talking
definitely
about?
because it's so interesting how it works. Everyone is, I believe, challenged by their own individual gifts, ashe, and their own individual merit. So the
Right,
challenges that I faced were directly correlated with my level of development, and my initiation started even way before I got to Africa. To be honest with you, it's interesting because I had been, no, well, first of all, let's start with why I even felt called to go over there. Because this isn't something you just get up one day and say, you know what, I'm gonna go to Africa and sit with this unfamiliar tribe and go deep on the medicine that is really a portal to the ancestral realm, which is dealing with the death energy, right? And then coming
right,
back, hoping that you'll be able to walk in a knowing that you're familiar with, and be, empowered by that experience. So
right,
I remember receiving some of this beautiful medicine. I had a teacher that I was studying under, and they introduced me to Aboga. So I got introduced to the Bwiti tribe from this close business partner slash teacher of mine, and they sent me some of this medicine, and I immediately, just in honor of the medicine, chose to pray over the medicine, bless the medicine, and connect with the spirit of this medicine. And even though I'm saying medicine, let me correct myself. This is actually a technology. Before it was a medicine, it was a technology, right?
right.
So I prayed and I asked for clarity and for the medicine to connect with me in spirit and speak to me. And I went to sleep with it under my pillow after praying over the medicine. And then when I woke up, I felt like I had been in Africa for 3 months. Like there was so many memories and experiences downloaded into my psyche that I was just astounded. Like I was even speaking some French, which I didn't even know that this country was a French speaking country. I
Oui,
was
oui.
told the origins of this medicine coming from the aquatic ancestors, the maybe Lemuria and
Right,
Atlantis, and just connecting with the mermaids, and just going deep in the caves and seeing all of the tribal colors, standing on top of the hills of this sacred land and speaking with the
right.
elders. I even saw African line dancing with all of the regalia and the feathers, the black, red, and white that the Bwiti wear,
This was on
which
the this. What you saying that you saw this when?
I saw this in a dream when I
Oh,
after
okay,
after
in a
praying over
vision
the
you had.
medicine and
Okay,
putting it under my
wow.
pillow. And it felt like I was just in ceremony, because it seemed like, from what I was seeing in a dream, they were celebrating my return as if I was just this queen that they knew that my return represented prosperity, not only for them but for the world. So it was just a very profound remembrance that started to come online just by way of the dream state. And I made it my business that I'm going to go, because at that point I felt called to really go deep with this medicine and pay homage and pay my respect, and really travel to the motherland to really connect with this tribe, and really learn the ways of this lineage and this medicine. But at that time, I didn't have the resources. I'm just like, man, ancestors, y'all gonna have to help me with this, because y'all want me to go way over there, but I gotta put my business to the side. I gotta do so many things to be able to afford, because not only is it gonna cost me time, it's gonna cost me money, which those two are interchangeable, right?
Right.
And I just didn't know where to begin with that. So over the course of time, it started to come to me that I would be to develop this particular unique form of medicine, which as you know, is the plasma regeneration regimen, which is a very regenerative type of medicine that I created. And within this medicine, it started to assist me in purifying myself and just continuing to develop my memory and regulate my nervous system, develop a level of pattern recognition in which I would say this January there was a portal. I'm sure that a lot of you all remember January 11th this year was like all ones, right?
Yes, the 1111. Yep.
Yeah, so that portal stuck out to me. And I just decided, I said, this is it. I'm going to go in on some medicine. I'm going to tap in and I'm going to see what comes of this. But I set some really powerful intentions to manifest the resources I need. I told myself I needed $15,000 in order to make the trip. Within a week, I ended up using the same pattern recognition that I was able to develop through working with these medicines and tapping in through that portal to manifest $15,000. And don't get me wrong, it wasn't just that was just all I had. I was doing pretty good with running my
Right.
business, but just that extra lump sum
Right.
just
Right.
came out of
That
thin air.
budget for that trip. Right.
Yeah, so I took that and then I just said, you know what, this is it. I'm taking this money and I'm putting it towards the pilgrimage. I booked my flight. I connected with the tribes over there. I let them know I was on the way. I started making investments, and then voila, everything went start coming into motion. But as
Wow.
I went through just preparing for that experience, there was a lot of challenges that came up, a lot of fear, a lot of doubt, a lot of pushback. Like, you know, it's dangerous over there. Don't go over there. You know, like you know, there's political unrest. We don't have internet. We don't have social media because the government shut everything down. And I'm just
Right.
like, I just remember my dreams. You know,
Right.
I know that I'm called here. So regardless of what they got going on, I know the Most High and my ancestors and my guides is going to cover me. And that was a part of my initiation. That was a part of my the challenges that I was facing to see if I was actually really about that life of really following what spirit showed me and following that calling. Um,
Mm.
I remember applying for a visa and literally thought that my visa was approved because I had got an email, but it was just an email confirmation that I applied. So I got all the way over there to find out when I actually landed in Gabon, and this was like in the middle of the night, that no,
Right.
I didn't have a visa. And actually my visa was denied. So I'm
What?
in a country all by myself with people that speak a totally different language that barely can understand me. I also didn't have a yellow fever vaccine. You know, we're not going on no vaccine at gunpoint, right? So
Right.
here you are in Gabon. You don't have a visa. You don't have a yellow fever vaccine. So they just said, "Oh, you don't have none of this. Go on to the side." But they were speaking in a different language. But I knew that they basically just dismissed me off to the side, and I'm just sitting off to the
Right.
side, like, damn. But there was a lot of prayer, you know, a lot of meditation, a lot of rituals that went into this whole process of me even being able to get there once again. So I just trusted in the divine. And shout out to my aunt. You know, I got an auntie by the name of Tracy Williams. She's my heart and soul, but she had been praying heavy for me as well. And
She's putting in that work.
I remember her asking, you know, Most High encamp your angels around her and make sure that no harm befalls her and things of that. And I'm just remembering that my auntie was praying for me. I was praying for me. You know, the dream had called me and all of that. So I'm nervous as hell, but at the same time, I'm still like, you know what? I'm not going. I know that I'm supposed to be here, and I know I'm gonna be good. So there was a man that saw me, and he actually just so happened to speak French and English, and he saw the whole transaction of how I got pushed to the side and they wasn't letting me through. So he ended up speaking to them in their language, and then the people from my Airbnb, which that was a whole nother story because I even had to switch my Airbnbs because I booked the Airbnb and then I reached out to them to just double check and make sure everything was good, and they weren't responding. And this was like 3 nights before I got to Gabon. So that had me on edge and nervous as well. So I ended up booking a whole new Airbnb. But the people from the new Airbnb, they were like divinely aligned to host me because When I got there and they found out the situation, they connected with the guy who was able to speak English, and they were able to speak English, and they spoke to the people who were like running that whole, you know, whatever you call their facility where they're, checking everybody in and approving people to come into the country, and they just expedited me to the front of the line.
See how
They
that
gave me
works?
my and I was shocked because they were like, "Well, you're gonna have to bribe these people and this and that." I gave them people $50, and like that, voila, they gave me my visa. From there, they had a driver come pick me up. He was holding a sign with my name, dropped me off to the Airbnb. Nice, beautiful Airbnb. And from there, I was able to go ahead and start making the next level of connections that I was to make in order to make this possible. But yeah, there was a lot of resistance and there was a lot of fear. But this beautiful sacred plant technology actually invokes a lot of confrontation with fear because it helps you overcome fear. Because to be
Mm.
honest with you, when you're dealing with ceremonial work, the deepest level of transformation comes through facing fears. I believe, there's of course other aspects to this whole thing when it comes to
It's attached to it
just
though.
yeah, but like
It most
just like
definitely
think
is.
about like say it again.
I said fear is attached. That's why it's not done. Like, you know, fear is a byproduct of this journey, but
Yes,
fear is the unknown. And you
correct.
know that you're on the journey when you invoke fear because you're
Mm-hmm.
walking into something, a road less traveled, similar to when you're about to go on stage and perform and you have butterflies in your stomach. Well, butterflies are indicative of transformation and change. That one time on that stage can change your life forever. That one time in front of that audience could literally turn you from a caterpillar to a butterfly. You literally could become a megastar, superstar. You could be discovered. You could make a breakthrough on those stages. So butterflies in the stomach is just a telltale sign that you're about to make history. You're breaking out of the norm. You're breaking out of the mundane. You're breaking out of the monotony. So fear as well is breaking out of the monotony. Yes, it is scary to go through door number one if you never went through it. But guess what? If you could go through door number one and literally walk into a pot of gold,
Ashe.
they don't teach
So
us these things.
they
They
don't. They
teach us to
don't.
run, the run.
And
Hmm.
let me say this, I know I went and I did my thing and it was amazing and incredible. But you don't have to feel like you need to go outside of your land in order to step into your power and walk in your true purpose, even if it's being called to these medicines.
Please
Because
say
we
that
all
again.
have our own individual, personal power that we came here to express from our oversoul. And that outranks any to me, any kind of initiation outside of you initiating yourself. And
Right.
a big part of that for me is just to speak in a proverbial sense, I would say jumping off the cliff and building your wings on the way down, which also takes a lot of fear,
Mm.
facing a lot of fear. They showed you that in Avatar, when they learned how to ride them, tame them dragons and ride those dragons, you could have really lost your life, but that's the initiation, you know,
Right.
just facing that fear and just trusting in the divine that you're going to make it through, because you really don't get anything accomplished by staying in a comfort zone, It's the
Mm.
comfort that keeps us stagnant and keeps us, held back. But yes, when I finally got to my destination and I connected with the matriarchal Bwiti, which is the Sumba clan of the Bwiti, it was on. And I was, extremely excited and extremely, grateful and honored to be able to go through the process. But when I got to the like thick of that actual ceremony, that's when it really hit me what I had done in terms of just the pursuit of this experience. Um, it really, really like all kind of just came at one moment in terms of the realization like you're here. Just look
Right.
at this. Look around you. You're in the middle of a jungle. It's pitch black, fire pits going and chanting, people, speaking in an unfamiliar language. You got you're unfamiliar to yourself because you got all this tribal paint on and this tribal wardrobe on, right?
Right.
And you're consuming large amounts of this medicine that is literally, it's interesting because Ebola is a very coherent medicine, yet and still it brings you to the threshold of assimilation of a near death experience.
Right.
And then within that you're like, wow, I'm going into this unfamiliar territory, which is that crossover into the ancestral realm. And at that point it's the fear of the unknown, like you said, Red. At that point it's like, I don't know what's about to happen next, and I'm in an unfamiliar place with unfamiliar people, but this is what I chose, and I'm just kind of beating myself up at this point, like, man, look at you, what have you done? You just want to be brave and bold, and look at the situation you got yourself in. But then something clicked in my mind, and it was like, okay, this is the fear program. This is the part where it gets real in a divine way, because I can stand up to this fear and face this fear and be able to reap the benefits of the fruits of what is on the other side of this fear. And at that
Right.
point, that's when everything started to come into an even grander, divine experience for me, because at that point I was able to gain access to contact with these ancestral energies and tap into a deeper level of ashe within myself and connection with myself in terms of the intelligence that the medicine was bringing and what it was able to show me. And it really blew my mind because, I had already been working with this medicine for, maybe six years. The way they do things over there, we can't duplicate, because that's a whole different space-time continuum. So it was literally like a time traveling experience for me, visiting, our distant relatives. But at the same time, in that space, it was just really eye opening to me, how fearless that they are, because it takes a lot to really surrender to the medicine, because you literally get fed this medicine nonstop. Like, I must have ate, um, I would say 25 times the normal amount that I would eat in a, a
In the
a
city.
ceremony that people would be known to do here in the West with that sacrament, in terms of what they consider, a ceremonial dose, or what they call a
Yikes.
flood dose. So that was mind blowing to me, because I was saying to myself, wow, this is this is next level. This is real. This is gangster,
Right.
because they over here they're not doing it like that. So at that point, it was a really, really interesting, um, coalescing with the spirit of this medicine,
Right.
because, it's a tree, right? And because it's a tree, I was able to, at that point, once I got over a lot of that fear, um, tap into the intelligence and the technology of the tree. And let's just say this: a tree is not a tree. It's just your agreement to call it a tree, right?
Mm.
But
Wow. Okay.
for the sake of, just really giving light to what I experienced and what came online within me, because I can't share all the aspects of the ceremony because it's very sacred. However, what I
Right.
feel is important to point out and to notate is that, um, we have always identified with trees in ways that aren't always, how can I say, whole, you know? So
Right.
this brought everything into perspective. You ever seen a movie where you're looking at like a holographic image of two things, and then they overlap, and then they
Yeah.
become one thing, and you see the synchronicity?
Yep.
So that's what started to happen in my vision and understanding. So I literally became one with this energy in this
Right.
in the tree. And it was showing me the aboga tree, the human family tree, the
Mm.
aboga tree, the physiological tree, meaning the
Right.
body as a tree. Like, so I saw my
The
bones.
nerves.
Yeah, like my bones were like the stumps of the tree, and my nervous system were like the branches of the tree,
Right.
are the roots of the tree. Like my
Right. I've
limbs
seen
were the
that
branches
before.
of the tree, right? And my nervous system were the roots of the tree. And then I'm seeing the placenta as the beginning of life, of the tree of life, right? Because when you look at a placenta, it looks like a tree inside of this round sac, right? The veins.
Right.
So I'm seeing all of these different synchronicities, and I'm like, wow, there's no separation between me and this holy tree. So the sacred tree of life had activated within me at that point, right? And it was just incredible because now I was also able to see that the nervous system is the roots of the tree, and other trees communicate with each other through the roots, meaning that if we're, the same because of the as above so below, or as within so without,
Principle.
my nervous system affects everyone's nervous system around me and vice versa,
Right.
because we're all trees communicating through our nervous system, right?
And that's why the brother Ankara was so adamant about calling the nervous system the calm system, correct?
Ashe.
I've been
Ashe.
hearing a lot about the nervous system come up a lot, yo.
And it's a big deal because that's one of the first secrets to actually developing higher faculties, and a lot of us don't really recognize that. And another thing, all these years we've been taught that the biggest and most fastest and cleanest path to manifestation is through positive thinking, like law of attraction type knowledge, right?
Right.
But you can't think your way into um, you can't think your way into a higher timeline, right? You really have to. It has to come from your nervous system first and foremost, because your nervous system is speaking louder than your thoughts. Because
Mm.
it's constantly emitting a frequency that represents your entire biofield. It's the core of your auric field,
Right.
and the universe doesn't give you what you want, it gives you what you are. And what better gauge than the nervous system to detect what frequency that you're on, regardless of what your thoughts, because you could have a thought and then a fleeting thought can come, that these thoughts are fleeting, in other words, and thoughts can come in that are low vibrational in conjunction with the high vibrational thoughts that you think you're projecting, because your nervous system is still speaking louder. So seeing that my nervous system was so regulated, it felt like I was at peace in the midst of chaos, because it's like all this loud drumming and all this stuff going on, which is just, a way for them to be able to hack through and break down all of the walls that your subconscious mind puts up naturally from being in an unfamiliar place and having kind of a little bit of a nervousness, whether you think you can help it or not, in your conscious mind, you know. So with that, I saw that it was important to keep developing my nervous system in a way that allows a certain level of freedom, because it's the difference between, sink or swim, to be honest with you. You go into a room, and regardless of anybody saying anything, our nervous systems are all speaking and telling a story, and this is why some people can walk in a room and the energy shifts, not necessarily for the good, but they can sense that their energy is off. Or somebody can walk in the room and it's like the whole room shift for the better. And this person is like a living sage or a living, you know, divine entity that is just speaking through the nervous system. And this is why a lot of people give out gifts and things. Like, you ever been in public and somebody just gift you something or pay for your meal or something like that? It's 9 times out of 10, of course, you might have a physical appeal to them, but a lot of times, more than not, it's what your nervous system is giving off, and their nervous system is able to pick up on that, because your nervous system is able to balance and add balance and they're able to feed off your nervous system in a way that they want to pay homage and pay respect and give back to you. So it comes in the form of offerings.
I
You feel
say.
me? So
Yeah, nah, I feel you on that. I definitely feel you on that. You know?
yeah, that was one of my biggest takeaways, even though, yeah, it was one of the most challenging experiences, just seeing how well my nervous system was able to anchor itself and alchemize into something more grounded and strengthened, and be able to take that energy into my everyday life. And ever since I came back, it's been on, it's been up, and everything has been, it's as if I've been able to do a lot more with a lot less effort.
Mm, okay. So when I was in Florida at the ceremony, was that after your trip or before?
That was immediate. That was my first ceremony coming out of my initiation.
Mm, okay.
That's why everybody was there. It was like a family reunion, and everybody was coming through to support and show love, because they know I had just come back from that initiation, and
Okay,
I
okay.
was given. You feel me?
So all right, so that's probably why that energy was the way it was because man, I came back to the show, I came back to the platform and I talked about it. I was like, family, you feel me? I done went through a ceremony. I'm on a ceremonial run right now. You feel me? I'm doing the big dog shit. But I shared with them how comfortable how professional it was first and foremost, how comfortable everybody was made to feel, the fact that we had people from KTL fly in from Hawaii last minute and be a part of it. So I was sharing, I was sharing in ceremony with people who are literally with KTLians and whatnot. So that meant a lot to me that they were taken care of and that it wasn't janky and whatnot. It made me feel better. It made me look better, and it just made everything good. You know what I mean? So I definitely recommend if anybody's out there and they want to experience something in the states and even outside the states, because I do believe that you have something in Hawaii coming up, correct?
Yes, we do. And those Hawaiian KTLians are going to be in the building for that. They was like,
Oh
"Oh
yeah.
no, sister, we have to come through."
Shout out
So
to
I'm
my
grateful for
Hawaiian
you.
KTLians and whatnot. Y'all lit. Yeah. It's a lot. It's more of them than I even knew. They lit, and they active too. So shout out to
Yeah,
all of y'all, you know what I mean?
they
The
tapped
Llama
in
tribe.
heavy too. I'm
The
proud of
Llama
them.
tribe. So let's change gears a little bit. You feel me? Let's turn things up a little bit. I just wanted to establish some familiarity with you and the audience. There are people that are familiar with you because you did come through before with our sister prior to we were talking about the ceremony. I remember that.
Yeah, and it was wild because remember when the hummingbird showed up? Now I'm rocking them. You feel me? The hummingbird whispered, right?
Oh, you got yeah, the hummingbird was literally just chilling on like landed on you and whatnot. If my son knew about that, he would faint because he's a hummingbird aficionado. We got a hummingbird feeder in the backyard. My son would be in the window, all the way in the kitchen, with the
Wow.
phone, zooming in, taking pictures of hummingbirds all day. Like he is. When I tell you, we call him Birdman Junior. My son is in love with birds. He's going through his bird phase, right? But like hummingbirds was the bird that he fell in love with, which made him fall in love with all of the bird kingdom. So, and I know how majestic the hummingbirds are, like bees, right?
Of the
If they
bird
don't,
kingdom,
they will not
basically.
hover around energy. They're not flying. They're vibrating and whatnot, and they're majestic. They go in all directions, so they're quantum. They could fly backwards. They could fly sideways. They could fly up, down, all type of thing. They move in quantum. They move in like qubits
And
and
they
whatnot.
only eat nectar. They only drink sweet nectar. That's their
Yeah,
food.
so that I remember when they came back from like Lowe's and whatnot, and they put up the hummingbird feeder. They was pouring liquid in it, and we got another bird feeder in the back, and I'm like, where's the damn grains at? Like, what do you feeding hummingbirds electrolytes? You know what I'm saying? I didn't know what it was, and it was that nah, the hummingbirds drink nectar, and this is liquid nectar. So yeah, I learned something that day. Um, I want to turn it up a little bit, right? There's something going on outside right now in society. I don't want to make it gender specific because it really is not. However, there's a disturbing trend that I'm beginning to see where women are beginning to, quote unquote, their nervous systems are beginning to somewhat be compromised. And there's a collapsing in society right now where people are literally snapping. And it's not a regular snap where, remember, there was a movie with, what was that movie with, my dude, what was his name? Michael Douglas. He had on like glasses and he was in LA and he like snapped. He had like a briefcase. I forgot the name of that movie, but it was a movie that came out in like the 90s and whatnot. And dude just snapped and then he just went crazy and whatnot. But it's not that type of snapping. Falling down was the name. Thank you. Falling down. It's not that type of snapping. There's a new level of snapping where people are taking the whole families out, right? There's a trend in that. I want to know from your perspective and from your research and from your just your spiritual sight that you have. Um is there somewhat of a collapse of society right now, and can it be attributed to spiritual or dark spiritual forces taking people over, sort of like how parasites take over the host?
Indeed. See, this is the thing. There's a lot of people in the holistic community that speak about parasites,
Yes.
um, particularly like bodily parasites, right? But the thing is, we've been programmed and we've been conditioned to just see things on a third dimensional level. Um, we have not really, as a collective, gotten deep enough into acknowledging our totality of existence in terms of our energy bodies, our spiritual bodies. You have so many layers to your body. Of course, you got the system of chakras, right? That's just one layer. Then you got an emotional body, you got a mental body, you got a psychic body, then you got like even a higher body than that, you know.
Right.
Um, Parasites have been able to attach on to these bodies just as easy as they were able to attach on to the physical bodies. A lot of times, these parasites are even more predominant than the physical parasites that people feel they're fighting off. Etheric parasites is what I call them. And that's what a lot of people are dealing with, entity attachments or, parasitic thought forms and parasitic, this is one of the biggest wars that have been waged on our people. Yes, the food has been poisoned and we're picking up parasites through the food, but we're also picking up parasites through the music and through intimacy or sexual encounters and
Wait, wait,
um,
wait. Say that again. You said we picking up parasites through the music?
yes.
That's interesting. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, because they're thought forms that are parasitic. These thought forms, when you really break down the type of expressions that are coming through these so-called artists, they're programming you for failure. They're programming you to do parasitic things. You feel me? They're not
Yeah.
programming you to vibrate high. Parasites,
Yeah.
they lurk in darkness and they vibrate low. This music is very dark for the most part. They're telling you to steal, to kill, to be promiscuous. These are parasitic thought forms. These are not coming from divine ancestral figures. You know,
Yeah.
so
No, that's deep.
yeah, and it's actually interesting to me because what I found out about these parasites, because I figured out how to remove a lot of these parasites, and I actually had etheric parasites on my body. Who's to say I still don't have a degree? Because just like the physical body, you can't always get rid of parasites 100%. There's always going to be some type of level of parasitism living inside of you. Parasites are primordial. They've been here since the beginning, just like we have, right? Um, But when I removed a hefty amount of parasites from my etheric body, one of the symbols and signs that showed up was, and a lot of the messages that I get, especially being a Pisces sun, come through the dream state. And I just remember, if I tell you the story, what happened, I had went into ceremony with these particular medicines that was extremely powerful. And it was, I woke up in a dream state in the mansion, but this mansion, it felt like it was my home. It was very familiar, and I was really pissed off because I saw a lot of people in this mansion that didn't belong there, and I was kicking them out like, "What the f are you doing here? Get the hell out!" And it was just random looking people, like a young black boy, older Asian lady, middle aged white lady, just like five different random entities in the form of people that were just chilling in my mansion. And I'm like, nigga, this ain't your crib. Get out. So I kicked them all out. As soon as I kicked them all out, this giant Medusa looking lady starts walking up on me like I'm a snake and I'm gonna F you up. And I told her, I said, bitch, I'm a snake too. And I broke her neck, and then she just like dissipated into a puddle, splashed, and just disappeared right in front of me.
Damn.
Then I woke up, and the shaman who was taking me through, he even asked me, he said, "Was you fighting in your sleep last night?" I said, "Yeah." I'm like, "How you know?" He said, "I saw." He was like, "Man, good job." I said, "What was that?" He was like, "That was etheric parasites." And it was crazy because ever since that day, my creativity went up, my like ability, like my life force went up, like my ideas, like I had so much of my power and my natural ashe that came back to
Right.
me. And I
It
just felt
came
like,
back.
yeah, I started making all kind of, actually that's how I launched my brand, Angelic Alchemy. That's really the story behind how I ended up coming out with Angelic Alchemy, because I was able to actually hear the voice of the divine and the ancestors a lot clearer after that ritual.
Right.
And one of the first things they told me, because I was at that point still trying to figure out who I was and what I was here to do, and I literally prayed, and I heard the voice of the ancestors and the divine tell me, start with your name. If you want to know who you are, look up your name, research your name.
Yo.
And then huh?
Yeah. Go ahead. I gotta add
Yeah,
on.
so I went online, I went on Google, and I started looking up my name. Now, I don't know if you can show this or not, but if you Google Ariel, the Earth Angel, there should be, it may come up, it may not, but this is an article, this was years ago though, and there was a black woman that showed up, and that it was showing me that Ariel is an Earth Angel and an Archangel. But I literally was drawn by this particular article because it was showing a black woman, and she had a big afro, and she had eyes that were like, brown, but they had like a gold trim around the edges of her eyes, and
Wait.
I was like, yo, she looks like me, like literally. And I'm looking at all the attributes and all the
You
I'm
talking
looking at
about
all
her?
the things that she represented in terms of like her gifts and her, and I'm just like, what? This is so me. Like this is everything that I'm capable of and that I've been doing all my life. I just haven't fully claimed it and embodied it.
You
So
talking
now
about her?
now I know, okay, there you go. There she is. You can't do that look like me or no?
Yeah, that look like you.
And you see, she got the lion on her chest. I've been a lioness representing Sekhmet and all that kind of
Yep.
stuff. You know what I mean? But when
Hell
you
yeah,
read
she
her
look like
story,
you.
you feel me? So I was just like, wait a minute. So you mean to tell me I'm established on a galactic level and I didn't even realize, you know what I mean? So this is just like, whoa, are you serious? So I was just fascinated, with understanding now, you know what I
Can
mean?
I
And
share
this was
something
just
with
like,
you?
okay, this is a part of my birthright. I can claim this and I can walk because
Right.
I was born under this name. So I was born under this frequency, regardless of who feel what about it. You feel me? So I'm
Right.
claiming all that. I'm coming for all my power, and everything they thought they took from me, I'm coming for it all. You feel me?
That part. So
So
look.
that's when I came online. That's when I fully came online into my power. And that's when I gave birth to Angelic Alchemy.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? And we all have this because when you're in your mother's womb, you got a whole 9 months. That's why it takes so long, not just to build you, but to build a relationship, with your mother, right?
Right.
And your mother is, you're in literally the uterus is what they call the utterus, which is uttering you forth. So she's going to know your name because you're going to tell your mother your name and she's going to utter you forth. And in that
Mm.
utterance, there's ashe within those words that represent the higher faculties of your spirit and what and the powers that you came into the game with. You feel me?
But the thing is that you have to bring them online. You have to wake them up, and you have to remember them.
A lot of times they already online. You just forgot and you just need to remember.
Right. Right.
Because if you look into your name, like look up your name and tell me that some of the attributes that don't come with that name fit you to a T. And this is what
Mm.
they don't want us to remember about who we are. It's already written. It's already there. But
Right.
I had to get them etheric parasites off of my etheric body in order to hear the voice of the divine and the ancestors to tell me to start with my name in order to figure out who I was.
Mm. Look, and I'm here to cause when you said the thing about the name, I reacted, right? Because I clearly can relate to what it is that you're talking about. And when I turned 33 years old, I was on Blog Talk Radio. One of my esteemed guests by the name of Dorothy Muhammad, she gave me and Blue Pill a reading on our names. Now, mind you, you get readings or I get readings on my name. I get readings. She sent us a PDF that was 33 pages each. I remember looking, when you open up a PDF and you just glance at the number, I'm like, wait, one of 33? What the
What?
hell does my name got? What can my name actually, you know what I mean? Like I was baffled. So this is when I found out that Philip, right? Before I even get into that, do you know that your name, this is something that our audience was able, that's why I love my KTLians. Your name, Archangel Ariel, because you are an archangel,
Right.
right? That's undeniable. Your name means lioness of God, and you tend to the natural world and the physical universe.
Yes. Yes. And that's why you see who I have behind me.
I see, segment. There you go. Right?
You
You
know?
are who you was before you got here. And I
Exactly.
always say to people, really what this journey is about, when you go on this hero's journey, you're literally just collecting memory pieces, infinity stones that's only gonna solidify and is only gonna stamp what you already know. It's just qualifying it. That's all this is. That's why they say, man, know thyself. It's a personal journey. And the people that you meet and the experience that you have, all that is to remind you that you've been doing this shit. You've been on point. You've been winning this game. You just
Yes.
was doing it sleepwalking in some situations. But back to my name. This when I found out that Philip was really red pill. I was like, wait a minute, huh? She was like, yeah, Philip, PHI is phi. Phi is Greek for fire. Fire is red. LLIP. She said, you don't got one L in your name, you got two, like Cool J. LLIP turned around as PILL. That's ill. So
Whoa.
nestled inside of your attribute, a name that used to be embarrassed of because it was a European name and a biblical name, inside of a name that you didn't never really want to utter or claim. I never wanted to say Philip. Hey, what's
Right.
your name? What's your name, boo? Philip. Next.
What man?
That wasn't hitting in high school or junior high. It just nigga's name was Dontavius, Quantavius. You know what I'm saying? And I'm Philip.
And that's a direct, clear path to shadow work. You know what I'm saying? Like that's,
Yeah.
if any of y'all wanted some shadow work, homework, study your name, front, back, side to side. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of people that might feel, ashamed of who they are based on their name, and they change their name and stuff like that, and they discredit that and disown that when all along that's where your power was hidden. You know?
Hmm. Yeah, man. I was blown away.
Oh,
I
but let
was,
me
I
tell,
was
let me drop this one on you. Cause like, okay, so you know I'm a Pisces, right?
right,
That's another reason I know I'm supposed to be here. Cause to be born under the sign of Pisces, and my name is Ariel, and the Little Mermaid is literally, a fish, right?
right.
However, when you look into the cosmology, or what do you say, the mythos of Ariel, the Little Mermaid, if you look at that and you compare that to the Lion King, it's really the same story.
Mm, speak on it.
Because think about it, Ariel, lioness of God, right? So lion
Right.
queen, But Ariel was a young princess running from the kingdom and being deceived by her evil auntie, and the Lion King was a young prince running from his kingdom and being deceived by his evil uncle off his
Right.
throne.
Off his throne, right.
Same
It's a
story.
hit, right. It's like this hero's journey, man.
Yes. And it's
Oh
interesting
man.
because Ariel's father, his name is King Triton. My father's name is Trenton. Can't make this up.
Can't make it up, right? They write in your story, right in your face.
Yeah, so these people know who we are. You know what I'm saying? So they
They
send these
study us.
parasites at us to make us forget and put us out of our psyche. But that's another thing to it. A lot of these illnesses that they put on us is really like supernatural abilities and gifts told or experienced in reverse.
Right. Interesting. So thank you for that beautiful segue because I want to speak to you briefly about and we're gonna do a full show. You know what I mean? The family and the audience. I don't even need them to tell. I'm just reading them the comments, and we got to bring you on for an entire platform. We're gonna platform you and get a whole show, right?
Hmm.
Um, I've spoken to you about herbs, right? The medicinal herbs, the traditional herbs, versus not really versus, but I've spoken to you about people running to the herbs and running away from the minerals and the compounds and those things that neutralize the body, right? And how much of a detriment that is when it comes to like, you know, basically just tapping in to your powers. Also, when people go into ceremony, right? Things
Hmm.
like plant-based ceremonies and their vessel or their body is not mineralized, is dehydrated, it doesn't have the right kind of compounds, how that will induce a negative quote unquote trip or somewhat of a negative reaction and whatnot, and why you're more of a proponent for minerals and compounds before you throw everything into quote unquote herbs and things of that nature. So can you just, I don't know if I botched that in a sense, but can you explain to the audience what it is your stance on the body as the quantum body and what it takes to bring the quantum body online?
Okay, say that last part about the quantum body.
And what it takes to bring the quantum body online. Like, what are some of the what's the regiment, and what would be some of the practices and the you know, what are some of the substances and compounds and minerals that we should be looking towards to basically to bring our quantum bodies online.
Okay. All right. So this is interesting. It's a great topic and I love the question. Um we started off as the elements. That's really all we are when you really break this down, this physicality, which is
Yes.
basically condensed light, as we say, right? Because it's just, what are the cells but light?
Yes.
It's the cells are made of light, but they come together so tightly that we appear physical,
They
right?
condensed. Right.
Condensed, right? So we are the elements. How do we know that? You're breathing, that's an element of air. You're warm, your body's always producing heat, that's an element of fire. This physical body is made of the earth, that's earth. And then what? The rest is water, right? I mean, you're more water supposedly than anything else. So that's what we ultimately want to cater to. We want to cater to these elements. And I always found it interesting. I might have mentioned this before, but I can't get enough of speaking to it because it's hidden in the language. Remember how, back in the day, and even sometimes still to this day, when somebody would get sick, they would say, well, such and such is under the weather.
Right.
What is the weather but the elements?
Right.
So if you're under the elements, that means you're being like defeated or overcome by the elements, you know? So the goal would be to, be in alignment with the elements. And what better tools that the earth has provided but minerals and nutrients in order to bring yourself back into alignment with the elements, you know? So that's pretty much my stance and my perspective on that. I mean, it gets a lot deeper, but outside of this physical vessel, what we are is a soul. We're dealing with solar energy. So really, we need to take supplements, nutrients, and vitamins to forge light into the body so that we're not lurking in and dealing in darkness, because a lot of people have dark trips because they are just dealing with a lot of darkness in the physical body that they haven't exposed to enough light or
Mm.
forged enough light in the body in order to feed off those light codes, because these medicines are going to reflect what you are, not anything else. So if you haven't forged enough light, how are you able to feed off that light?
So when
And
you
in order,
say, I'm sorry, when you say forging the light, are you referring to sun gazing, sunbathing, just basically exposing yourself to the light codes? Or is there another form of light that you're referring to?
light comes in different forms, but obviously that's the most obvious form of light there is, right?
Yes.
Um, and I feel like a lot of we got to start thinking outside of the box. Um, Sun gazing is like a fad to me because it can only get you so far.
Right.
We're focused on putting our two eyes to the light, right? When biblically the scripture says, if thine whole body be full of light, thine eye be single.
Right.
So technically, we're supposed to turn this whole body into a solar panel for light. You see, like, okay, like you see my eyes, yeah, I can use them to send sun gaze, but if you look at my face, you can see I'm full of light. I'm
Right.
not wearing any makeup. You feel me? This is just
Right.
my natural, glow. That's what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be walking with the light, like becoming the light, consuming the light. And this is technically like how we time travel. And it's interesting because it actually ties into, the forecasting discussions that you're having. You know what I mean? Because when you're dealing with forecasting, you're dealing with weather. And when you're
Right.
dealing with that, you're also dealing with time travel, because when you're able to, and that's what you call melanin dominance. That's why the melanin is so feared, because the melanin has a direct relationship with the sun, and the sun, that's the true ark of the covenant. And we're able to time travel more intensely than any other entity that doesn't have the melanin interface, because this is literally melanin walking, or
Mm.
this is the sun walking. That's what melanin is.
Okay. The sun walking.
Hmm.
Oh, you talking that shit tonight? I see. Okay. That's what we doing.
Oh, we
We
gonna cook
shoot. We
tonight.
shooting
You feel me?
threes. We shooting threes from the bleachers. Nah, that's beautiful. They say they love your skincare routine, skin glowing and whatnot. You know what I'm talking about?
Well, I'm gonna reiterate what I said the last time I was on your show and this was brought up. It's not my skin so much; it's actually my blood that you're seeing emanating through my skin, and that's where my regimen comes in, which is the plasma regeneration regimen.
Right.
I
Think
mean, my
about
skin was glowing before I came out with this regimen. So I honestly, this might sound a little far fetched, but I feel like I'm literally sharing my genetics with humanity at this point, especially as a black woman. Henrietta Lacks was just code word for black people.
right.
It's a way for them to speak about us without us knowing that they're speaking about us, because
Uh,
we're correlating it to an individual when they're really speaking to a phenotype in a species of beings.
My younger brother just talked about that. I dead ass on 3 Milli podcast. KT the Archer
See,
Breed just talked about
we
that.
we starting to remember. We coming online. We coming to the same conclusions, and that's where this was what they was fearing about this age, is that we're going to start coming into agreement and coming into alignment with each other. You feel me?
Right,
Because we all starting to see but we're seeing through the lies and we're seeing the truth for what it is. And because we're all able to make these connections and it's echoing back and forth and reverberating through, our, like you say, common unity,
right,
because we can all agree on that, that's actually what dictates to the forecast. And
right.
that's a part of the message that I'm going to be bringing when I come to speak in New York this Saturday at the Nicholas Bookstore, is that we dictate the forecast by way of our ashe and our energy. We change the weather with what we choose to project and come into alignment with, because we know the position that we're in, which is superposition.
Oh, super
And I
position.
know you know about superposition.
Yeah, I'm a twin, you know?
Mm,
So
ashe.
that quantum is that's my everyday experience and whatnot. Wow, that's interesting. I like that. So for individuals such as myself, if I want to get my skin glowing, 'cause I got a little bit of glow, you know what I'm talking about? But I want to glow. You know what I mean? I want to glow up like Glorilla. What are some of the routines, or what would be something that you recommend that I start doing? And is there any kind of do you have anything in your kit that you would recommend that I start to take and start to get my blood clean like that?
Yeah, the solar ascension. But like, if you okay, so let me give y'all some game. You don't need to necessarily buy my products. Get you some high doses of D3, right?
D3.
Um, get you some magnesium and some K2, and get
Yeah.
you a bunch of B vitamins. Get you a bunch of the B vitamins that glow gold. You know, anything that has a real gold hue to it, because that's really what we looking and we seeking for when we eating these different foods. And
Right.
honestly, like a lot of the fruits and vegetables that we consuming, they're not as potent as they used to be in the old world, because the soil over here has been tampered with,
Compromise.
the food has been tampered with and modified and things like that. But the basic elementals within these foods is these supplements and these nutrients and these vitamins. So if you're just making a beeline and incorporating this while you're still eating that, that's the best route. But when you're able to consume the right supplements and nutrients, these type of vitamins, like I said, the B vitamins that are like this bright orange, like the sun, you go to the bathroom and you notice that your pee will start to turn bright yellow, bright orange.
Right.
And that's the color that your pee should be. If you're peeing, people think that their pee is good when it's clear. No, your pee is supposed to be bright like the sun, because your urine is a form of plasma, which is why when you go to the hospital, they take two things, your blood and your urine, because they're both forms of plasma. Now, if your urine is bright orange, then it's safe to say that your blood is also going to be bright orange, right? And that means that your blood is starting to get brighter. And that makes it even harder for parasites to survive, because they like to lurk in darkness. They don't like to lurk in, bright
Right.
environments.
Yeah. They
So
do not like that. It's like
yeah, so
vampires.
you're making everything, you're making your plasma extremely bright, and then it's emanating through your skin.
Mm. Sister said, um, "Hello, Cocoa Minds, full of abundance. How you doing? How you doing, ma'am?" She wants to know, for those who attend, are questions going to be allowed at the lecture? I'm asking you. I would answer that and say, of course. Even for those that are on the live stream, we'll be taking questions, and during the lecture, we want everybody to be able to have their questions answered and also to interact. And if you're physically there, I'm sure that our good sister is gonna have one-on-ones with anybody that's in the building after she opens up. And you also have something that you want to share with the people that I'm sure that will have them smiling about what they'll be gifted with on Saturday when they walk through the doors at Nicholas.
Yes. Nicholas is finna
Oh, I'm
turn
sorry.
into
I'm sorry. Before we get into that, can you list those names of vitamins one more again so everybody could write it down? Because that was a thorough list. And then we could get into what they have to look forward to when they walk through the doors.
D3, K2, in particular the MK4 and the MK7 of the K2 family, magnesium, and you got a plethora of different magnesiums out there. So don't just get one, just research the different ones. You got intercellular magnesium and all of that. Then, and keep in mind, the intercellular magnesium is going to help you pull in the light codes from the sun. See, I'm an archangel, so I deal with the light codes and I bend light and I know how to bridge light from the solar energy into the human biofield. So I was shown that the magnesium in all of these different forms help magnetize the light in once you open up the photonic receptors.
Right.
Niacin is a really good one. That's going to give you a lot of ATP because it's going to put that lightning, that voltage in the body. You know what I'm saying? Then the B vitamins. Look up. It's about at least like I would say 14 B vitamins, but a lot of them are very orange, but the B vitamins are very powerful. Vitamin A is also really good, but you got to be very moderate with that because it's a really potent retinol. It's actually even more potent than vitamin D3 when it comes to synthesizing the sun through the photonic receptors, right? They call them the D3 receptors, but before they knew about D3, they were photonic receptors, and if you
Right.
actually Google or look up on Chat GPT, another word for vitamin A is going to say retinal. What is a retinal but a lens? So you need to put retinals in your body. You need to study retinals and start forging retinals into your bloodstream in order for your photonic receptors to open up so that you can start forging in more light. And once you start
Mm.
forging in more light codes, you'll start to get more cognizant of this is how genius was invoked within. This is the secrets that they don't want us to know about the melanated beings on this planet. This is why we had such a advantage in all sports and all arenas of geniusness. We're not just sports monkeys that they try to make us out to be. Yes, we are extremely athletic, but we're also extremely genius because it's all dealing with the light codes coming from the sun that we're able to synthesize and convert through our individual, expressions as it was meant to be expressed through our particular soul consciousness.
Okay. Beautifully said. Now, can you share with us what gifts does the New York family have to look forward to
Oh,
when you come
yeah,
to New
that's
York
right.
and bless them with your presence?
So yeah, we coming through with the ceremonial cacao. You know,
That's right.
the ceremonial cacao is something that people are really, really fanatic about when it comes to the elixirs that I make, and it's luscious. It's very mineral and nutrient rich. It's extremely tasty, and it's
It is.
just it's just a heart opening, beautiful medicine that just does so much on so many different levels. I'm going to be giving out samples of my supplements to go with it because it wouldn't be right for me to give y'all ceremonial cacao and not let you sample some of the medicines that I create because the ceremonial cacao is actually an excellent delivery system for the alchemy that I created, because it comes with like so many different fattiness and nutrients that allow these supplements to sit in. Because most of my compounds that I create, they come with at least like 12 to 15 different ingredients on average. So, you want to be able to like really strengthen the vessel to be able to take in these medicines without it being a little too overwhelming to your body, and cacao makes it perfect for that.
Wow. And just for everybody's as a disclaimer, I had the cacao before. That's what they served up at the ceremony when I was in Jacksonville. and I wasn't prepared. You feel me? Like I said, because when I was in Colombia, I had cacao chocolate bar. A white man had gave it, a white couple and whatnot. They have a nudist. They live in wait. They live in Dominican Republic on 70 acres at a nudist colony, right? And I guess they got some bread and whatnot. But he was like, "Yo, this is my cacao," and it was super pure and it was wild bitter, right? And I was like, "Yeah." I was eating it, but it was mad. It was like it was you have to have a certain taste to, it's an acquired taste. So when you was like, "Yeah, we serving up the cacao," and I was like, "Yeah, okay, let me get a sip." You know what I mean? I'm ready for the bitters. You know what I mean? I was ready for the bitters, fam. I'm talking about this shit was like hot chocolate with an extra flavor. Like it was hot chocolate with cinnamon in it. I mean, it blew my mind. It blew my mind. And that's what we took in the beginning of this to get everybody like on the same relax. You know what I mean? It was like a comfort food. So yeah, you did that. You know what you're doing when it comes to that cacao.
Yeah, and it's actually important before we go into ceremony to work with something like cacao because it strengthens the organs and the hearts and it lubricates everything and makes it easier to take in high doses of medicine that is very transformative to the body. So I'm really big. That's where I actually shine in terms of like my particular individual work is that I know how to prime the body for these fifth dimensional experiences.
Right, right. Man, beautiful, beautiful. Somebody was asking if Monique is gonna be broadcasting your the segment and whatnot, and I would say yes. A positive. I would say we are definitely gonna be broadcasting. Um, that QR code that you see above Ariel's right there to your right, that will get you in the Eventbrite so you could grab your ticket. And I'll also put the flyer on the screen in a few minutes and whatnot. Okay. So yeah, I do want to
Somebody said, "Tell her don't forget that Wanzini. You want that Wanzini zone?"
that one ziti. Yo,
Yeah,
yo.
I'm gonna load up with a bunch of stuff. Y'all tell me what y'all want me to bring, cause I ain't gonna hold you, man. I've been really busy. I recently just sold out of a lot of products, and so I'm thinking that I might come with like one or two, maybe three or four different compounds. Not too many, but like a decent amount where y'all can get. I'm definitely coming with the Mighty Conjure. I'm probably coming with the antiviral and the parasite purge. I'm gonna try
Can
to
you
see if I
show
can
us?
come with some.
I'm sorry.
Huh?
Can you show us the packaging? Can you show us a product, or you have anything on deck
You know
by any
what?
chance?
Yes, I actually
Oh,
can. Let me show you this other. I that other box I had, I shipped off, but this one. So this is a kit that I sell that is called the
yes.
Plasma Regeneration Kit. You see, ancestral tools for quantum
It's backwards.
transformation. Yeah.
It's
So,
backwards.
huh?
It was backwards. Let me
Yeah, I
see.
just wanted to show them the outside of the box. That's why.
Oh, okay.
You see, they got the flower of the
Yes,
sacred
yes, yes.
symbol of life.
Oh, oh, that's the flower of life in the light
Yeah.
colors and stuff.
Uh huh.
Let me find out.
So this is the inside of the box. See, biogenetic sovereignty is your birthright. So I'm big on understanding biogenetic sovereignty because that's what this is about. A lot of people preach sovereignty, but I feel the first pillar of that is on a genetic level. Because if you're not sovereign in your genetics and being able to manage and man your own ship, then everything else is going to be a bigger challenge. You're going to
Facts.
get a pill organizer kit. I hope y'all can see. I know it's kind of bright, but
The plasma
basically,
regeneration regimen. The
yes,
plasma regeneration. Oh, so there you go. That's gonna get my skin popping. The plasma regeneration, and there's a
exactly.
regimen.
Exactly. And you
Oh
see it's the
yeah,
color, it got all the colors of the
of the
rainbow, which is the color
chakras.
of the chakra systems. You feel me?
Damn.
So,
Yeah,
from the
sign
root
me
to the
up.
crown,
Yeah,
you
sign
feel
me
me?
up. Yeah, 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 yeah.
And yeah, because this is not only gonna, tune you up in the physical, but it's going to tune you up in your spiritual body. And remind me, I want to break down the different layers of our existence in relationship to the divine so that you understand, where we're at. But, this is just a special order. So sometimes you get stuff like that. But um, the antiviral alchemy, that's helping break down the biofilms and get rid of some of the more intercellular parasites that's especially like autoimmune. This is a solar ascension. This is like the first actual compound that I created out of this system. So it's
Right.
a really beautiful. um, the parasite purge, of course, it's a big deal because you're dealing with the clinical grade dewormers. But y'all
Mm.
see this, so now y'all see what I mean, right? This got the D3, the K2, the magnesium in it, but it also got a lot of B vitamins in it. It's got some other secret stuff in there too. But you see how like you're dealing with the solar energy. It's also dealing with the solar plexus, but it's dealing with the sun, which is the bright orange color. So
I
nature
see the
don't
color
lie,
of the
right?
pills. Right, right. It's in
Yeah, and you see
alignment.
anything that's attacking the parasites is bright colors, bright red, bright yellow. Because again, the parasites they lurk in darkness. So a lot of the stuff, these herbs that's dark and stuff like that, they're not as effective because the parasites is just using it for seasoning to go ahead and munch on your organs with, because they done already adapted to a lot of this stuff, So we gotta
Right.
advance. If they showed you that in the Matrix, right? The new the I think the second Matrix, they were like, damn, the agents done upgraded. They done got
Yeah.
upgrades just like Neo did. So we have to keep
The
advancing
matrix
them.
responds.
So we
Right.
can't be mad at a lot of stuff that's going on that we feel is nefarious and stuff because it's just here to invoke our supernatural abilities, and that's the age that we're in. That's why we incarnated during this time, because we're the ones to actually get the job done and be able to answer to this. You feel me?
Facts.
This is for the men. This is the cosmic dragon. This is going to come
Mm.
with some of the Wanzini in it, but
Woo.
this is a male hormonal compound. A male
Vitality.
hormonal compound.
Does that got niacin in it?
Yeah.
Ah.
I mean, I can make it customized too, where it don't necessarily come with a little bit of that flair, but that's where the power is at. Like you
I
got to
feel
get
you.
zapped a little bit in order to wake up. It's like that electromagnetic shock therapy.
Just you know what happened? I got a haircut when I was on some niacin. That shit felt real good. Cause
What?
niacin make you itch. You feel me? But I got a haircut, like I was getting my hair cut, and the niacin was in me, and I was like, they, you know what I mean? They scratching my itch with the razor and the
It
clippers. You
must
know
have
what I'm
felt
saying?
amazing, huh?
It
But
felt
it was
amazing.
stimulating. But see, this is what they tell you. Like they tell you that if you want to stimulate your lymphatic system, you need to get a brush and brush your skin. But what do you use a brush for until you actually itch? That's when the brush come in play.
Right,
No
right,
different than when you working out and you stretching your body. You stretch after you worked your muscles and they need to stretch because they sore.
right. The fascia. Right.
You want to stretch when you can feel it. You want to scratch your body when you itching.
That's right. And that
Now,
niacin will get you itching, boy.
facts. So these are the micronutrients with the galactic greens. So just imagine I just went into Atlantis or Lemuria and I picked out all the most potent, powerful greens from the garden and put them
Right.
into a capsule. You got the good stuff like the phytoplankton, astaxanthin, chlorella, spirulina, all that kind of good stuff mixed
Mm.
down in a PRR kind of
And
way.
I could just put that in my water.
Oh yeah, you can absolutely.
I could put it on my tongue. Is it real bitter or some of them?
Nah, not that one. Most of these are
Okay.
not bitter because they're just vitamins and nutrients.
Okay. Cool.
And that's what
Cool.
I'm saying. A lot of people think they just need to keep detoxing, but a lot of times you actually just need to nutrify your vessel. You need to put the right minerals and nutrients. You need to electrify your vessel. You know, You
Yes.
need to put more light into your vessel. There's a whole range of different elements that we've neglected, just focused on detoxification. And that might be a psyop that they put into our community to distract us from becoming a Voltron.
Mm. Man, you talking my language.
Huh?
I said you talking my language right now, man.
You already know. So, yeah, Crimson Codex, this is for the blood, the liver, the kidneys. This is going to put a lot of ATP in your body. We also got the liquid magnesium. You can't forget that liquid magnesium, because that magnesium is responsible for over 2,000 different genetic functions and responsible for over 90% ATP production.
The
So,
liquid magnesium.
yeah, no, just regular magnesium. Like my magnesium is called pico magnesium. Can you look up
Okay.
how small is a pico compared to a nano, real quick?
Can I look up how small a pico is compared to a nano?
Yes.
Okay. Cool beans. All right. So a nano is 1 billionth of a unit, 1 billionth, and a pico is 1 trillionth of a unit. Damn.
Ashe. So if you dealing with pico technology, you going way deeper than nano,
That's like
because you're
Ant
talking
Man,
to,
Ant
like,
Man, Ant Man. Right.
yeah, the real underworld. So that's how my stuff hit. So the
Mm.
magnesium I got is the pico. It's a
Mm.
pico mag. So when it goes in, it literally slips directly into your cells instantly. So, and
Yikes.
that's pretty much a capacitator for all the other compounds. You know.
Yikes. Man, you got this shit figured out. Look, family, I want to see in the chat who is going to be in the building on Saturday. Let me see your emojis. If you got yourself a ticket already, or if you know that you're going to be getting a ticket and you will be in the building, especially if you're going to be there live. Let me see some emojis in the chat. Let me see who I'm talking to and whatnot. I don't care if you hear this on a replay. Put it in a comment section. Like, I need to see what's popping. This right here, you don't get this every day. You don't get this every day. You know what I mean? You've been hitting you 30 for 30, you got you know what I'm talking about? You 30, you sending everything back. You know what I mean? You 30 for 30.
We
I
could go band
respect
for
it.
band.
I respect the science. I respect that shit. Like for real, for real. Like you literally you making it sound very easy and very doable. And I love the way that like I'm calm. The nervous system is calm listening to the science. And it's like it's not just calming me, it's making me eager to go ahead and do that thing. So I shaded that. I really, yeah, I appreciate the way that you bring in this information. I do know that you have another show in a little while, so I'm not gonna hold you for long. Like I said, we're gonna be in New York turning it up, and then you'll be back on the show, of course. Delivering the fire. I would love to see you and brother Heru. You know what I mean? On the court, Wimbledon, going back and forth. That couldn't even be on the tube. You know what I'm saying? The sentience and the they gonna be algae rhythm is gonna be alerted. Wait, they're gonna be together. But I would love to see that. That would be so fire. Let them know once again though where it is that they could find you. What I put your website up there so they could tap in with you. You know what I mean? And just let them know all of that information, please.
Yeah, so we're gonna be at the Nicholas Bookstore. We're gonna have some fun. We're gonna have some good medicine, some good cacao. We're gonna be chilling. I might even tap into some other modalities that we can explore in order to, like, just really balance the nervous system and regulate things, because I feel like, yes, the supplements and the herbs and the fifth dimensional medicines are excellent, but we need to learn how to just tap into this vessel and regulate things without any of that, in case we just need to just know on a foundational level how we can work this beautiful machinery that we've been given. And I just want to thank you, Red Pill, because you have a way of bringing the science out of me in a way that is very unique to your level of wisdom and ashe and understanding. So big up to you on in that regard, because you also make me feel very comfortable to share some of these secrets. Sometimes I get interviewed and talk to people and I kind of freeze up or shut down because it's something in my spirit is just blocking me from sharing some of this information, because it's a very, very sacred. So I commend you for doing the work and being on a level to be able to channel this out of me, because it speaks to a level of elevation that you naturally possess. And, I appreciate that about you.
That means a lot, Ashe. And primarily because I'm more of a hands-on type of person. Like if I've worked with you and saw the magic, if I've witnessed the magic, then it's going to come out more organically and authentic. So I sat in ceremony with you. I've seen your work. I've seen your magic. I've seen what you could do. You feel me? So yeah, this is just natural, and I really and I've been talking to you, to the family over the months. So I'm just very enthusiastic that they really get to see you again and see what you out here doing and whatnot. The elders, the goddesses, the young brothers, the old heads, the OGs, everybody who needs to see an example of what it looks like to be living in your truth and to be really in the soil doing it royal. I'm just glad that they get to witness that.
Gratitude. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
For
Thank you to
sure.
your audience for being able to be so receptive and, ask these beautiful questions and just, be able to resonate with what we're putting down, because this, not everybody can receive this type of understanding. So, I appreciate you all for being a divine reflection of what it is that I'm able to express, you know.
For sure, for sure. Leave them is I put the website up there, angelic.alchemy.net, right?
Yes. And
This is the
it
group.
used to be .com, but somebody stole it. They out here trying to imitate and,
It's
all
all
that,
good. It's all good. We get them on in a boga trip. Before we even leave, let's talk about the legalization of gain and how people may confuse that for Eboga. Because you
That's
got
actually
President
really
Trump
heavy.
and RFK in them. All right, that'll be the show that when we come back, we'll tackle that because I
I
want to
mean, I
make
could
the
give a brief
distinction.
little, since you put it out there, but we could go deeper,
Yeah, yeah, and
But
also default. If we're gonna talk about it, let's get into also default DMN, default mode network.
default mode network, yes. So one thing at a time. But just to answer the first question you had, like when it comes to ibogaine, ibogaine. Okay, so iboga is the full spectrum plant medicine, right? Within that, you have 12 alkaloids. That's the scientific explanation for these intelligences that live within this medicine. I call them 12 ancestral spirits or 12
Right.
deities that you can engage, that all have different roles and play different roles in being able to alchemize density in your biofield and your physical body. They're literally brain surgeons and, you know, spiritual surgeons. They're able to do psychic surgery on your whole entire light body, these energies that live within this medicine. But ibogaine is one of the 12 alkaloids. I
Okay.
call them abogaloids, right?
Okay.
So what they've done in the West is basically stripped it down to that one in particular alkaloid out of the 12. They've isolated it and
Right.
have used it as a derivative to target people with opioid addiction. And it's the number one rival to opioid addiction. It can remove opioid addiction within 12 to 24 hours or even up to 48 hours, depending on how severe the person's condition is. Yet it comes with a caveat that it has implications to challenging the heart. And people have been known to have cardiac effects. So basically, just to simplify it for you, what happens is there's way that the heart is beating, and they measure it by what they call the QT interval. And what that
Right.
is like if you ever see on a monitor the heartbeat and it goes like this.
EKG. Right.
Yeah. So basically, what it does when you take Iboga or you take Ibogaine, it basically elongates it to where it's like this, and then it goes like this. It makes it longer before that little jump,
Okay.
that
For
jolt
that jump.
happens. It extends
Right.
the QT interval, which makes it dangerous. That makes it a dangerous territory. But when you're dealing with the full spectrum root bark, you're not dealing with that much of a challenge, because you have all the other 11 alkaloids to stand in the fold as guardians over this experience, so that you're balanced in how you're experiencing this medicine versus just taking that one isolated alkaloid, and it doesn't have the backup of the other 12 elders in the room to be able to keep you grounded and keep you protected mentally, spiritually, and physically. And our ancestors understood that, which is why they never took this
Okay.
and perverted it or extracted it and did other things with it, because it
Right.
needed no help. It needed no alterations. It was already whole, and it was already, Iboga is a holy medicine. That's why they call it Iboga tabernanthe, but it's meant to be taken whole. And when you isolate it like that, now you're getting into a different territory. So I work with the full spectrum medicine. I don't work with, but if I were to work with that, just like I do with the Iboga, I use the magnesium, the magnesium, because as you all know, magnesium is responsible for over 2,000 genetic functions and 90% ATP production. And it also helps regulate the heart. So if
Right.
somebody is having any extreme heart challenges, you put that magnesium under the tongue and it could almost literally stop a heart attack instantly. And yeah, somebody
Right.
said medicine versus drug. Comparing Iboga to ibogaine is like comparing cocaine to the coca leaf.
Right.
You know,
Right.
being that the coca leaf would be,
The herb.
synonymous with the
Right.
Iboga, the full
More
spectrum,
indigenous.
and the
Right. Full
cocaine would
spectrum.
be synonymous. Not that,
It's
of course, I would
isolated.
hate to compare it to that, because even in the form of ibogaine, it's still highly benevolent compared to something like cocaine.
Facts. No doubt.
And then your second
Man.
question,
Huh?
you had a second question after that, after you mentioned the ibogaine.
Um, let me think. I want to know what are some of the what is the preferred? What do you prefer for anybody that's trying to regulate their nervous system? Do you have any tips or minerals that you are recommending for the regulation of the nervous system?
You could start with something simple like magnesium. You could definitely work with Iboga. Iboga, like I said in the beginning of the video, is extremely good at regulating the nervous system. I'm talking about on a deep level. Like, this medicine is so powerful, it can correct past life trauma.
Oh, okay. Beautiful. All right, we
Hmm.
were talking about default mode network.
Yes, that's what we were
And
talking about.
yeah, that blew my mind when I did the research on it. So
Yes.
currently, we are all in default mode network, and what that is, ladies and gentlemen, that's the default mode that all of our brains are in while we are considered to be in the matrix, and we're all on this frequency and whatnot. And I'm not gonna say all of us, but what you would call the majority of us. Um, when we tap into the plant-based medicine, when we do breathing work, when we meditate, and when we defocalize, what we do is we begin to wake up that default mode network. And it's been shown through brain scans and whatnot, different parts of the brain wake up, right? Different parts of the brain that's dormant, different hemispheres will begin to light up, right? So one of the things that iboga and ayahuasca and bufu and some of the stronger ones do is that it completely activates the entire brain or parts of the brain that are very powerful. So I just wanted you to speak on the default mode network and how important that is to at least once in your life, get out of default mode.
Okay. So yeah, so default mode network, that's basically like living within a veiled existence
Existence.
in reality. That's what this is. And when we break out of the default mode, that's pretty much going beyond the veil. Or another way of seeing it is breaking the fourth wall, right?
Mm, right,
So when you're able to break the fourth wall, that's when you have access to the fifth dimension.
right,
And within the fifth dimension, that's why I call these fifth dimensional medicines, because within the fifth dimension, there's a higher level of seeing everything as one thing. And that's why people relate it to seeing God or connecting with source and things of that nature, because um, God, quote unquote, or the all there is a omnipresent beingness
right,
and oneness. And when you're able to see things from a state of oneness, then you're able to gain more access to everything that you put your intention into and your energy towards. And you're able to just be able to move in a space of grace and move with ease in the midst of chaos, because you see in everything, you see in everything the connection in everything,
and everything,
right?
right? The oneness.
The oneness. So that oneness is like a state of peace, like unconquerable peace, which is the original state that we came from before we took on these bodies, you know.
Right.
um and I
Henceforth, while the
also, if
babies
you don't
cry.
mind, yeah, I did want to break down like a concept of like how I see like and identify the the whole like the multidimensionality of who we are, because I think that is also a part of understanding going beyond the default mode.
Okay, go ahead.
So basically, that was something I was shown in meditation one day, when I asked and prayed for understanding the connection between myself and source and this whole existence, this divineness and this oneness. And I was shown a bullseye. And within the bullseye, I was shown the bands and what they represented. So the outer band of the bullseye was the physical body, this gross body, quote unquote. And then the next inner band I was shown was the light body, which is governed by the endocrine system. That's the endocrine system, is the hardware that is reflecting with the hormonal system. That is pretty much the gateway to the light body. How do we know that? Is because the pineal gland, which is a part of the endocrine system, is also the third eye chakra, which is a part of the light body system, right?
Right.
So that's how you know the second inner band, which is the light body, is the next closest thing to this physical body. But it's the first stage into getting back beyond that default mode and into that more light, cold, oneness source energy. So beyond that, there's another band, the third inner band, that's the oversoul. And
Mm,
basically, the oversoul gives its instructions to the light body in order for the light body to be able to then instruct the physical body. And this is how you're able to regenerate. If you get cut, bruised, or anything happens to your physical body, it could grow back because the light body is able to instruct the physical body. It holds the blueprint to the way the physical body projects itself into third dimensional reality. Now, the oversoul, again, is the mothership that governs the light body, which governs the physical vessel. And how, you see this in movies. They show you in analogies in the movies. When you ever watch a sci-fi movie and you see a big mothership and then you see a little ship come out of that, and then you
right.
see the humans come out of that little ship, that's showing you the connection between the oversoul, the light body, and the physical body. Now, the fourth dot, the fourth inner band, that's the, like, let's say that's the bindu or the black dot. That's source. And that's where the light body or the oversoul is getting its power is and powering up its beingness from that black dot, that triple black darkness, or the black sun, or whatever you want to call that. So that's the stages of existence beyond the default mode, which the physical body is the default.
Right.
So we're not the body, we exist in the body, and the body is a projection of us, which is these light codes and ships and energies beyond this flesh.
Mm,
Was that helpful?
very much so. Wow. That's that. I need to visual. I need to make that visual because that was crazy right there.
Okay.
That was very visual. Man, ladies and gentlemen, y'all just got a master class. You feel me? Y'all just got yourselves a master class. Um, this was so powerful. You answered so many questions and you put so many things together. You linked so many unlinkable things for us in this short amount of time. I am blown away, and man, oh man, I'm sure those in the audience who are just hearing you for the first time are smitten. You feel me? Are you on social media at all? Do you take
Um,
is that something that you're into, like the followings and stuff?
I'm not like huge on the social media, but I can say that Facebook is my legacy account. So you can follow me on the Facebook at Ariel Williams.
Okay, I'll put it in the
And I'm
chat.
sure a lot of us have a lot of mutual friends. But then also on Instagram, that's my new account. And that account is angelic double underscore alchemy.
Okay, put that in there as well.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to start figuring out how to create a video or talk presence on there, but I really don't come on the social media and drop it like this. So, thank you for giving me, the space to be able to be comfortable enough to share some of these deeper downloads
Yeah,
and
yeah.
information.
I can help you with that. I got an agency. You know what I'm saying? We'll put you on the
Yeah,
tour.
I need an interpreter, because I'm
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
like
yeah.
already like on the fifth dimensional. Like I literally kind of live in that world more than I live here. So it's good to be able to connect with people like you that's like a connector and a bridge between the fifth dimension and this world to, be able to bring us together so that we can, be able to elevate.
Yes, the evolution will be digitized. I'm here for that. So, I think you're gonna be on Uncle Hank's show at 9 o'clock. If y'all want to continue with this, with this rally that we're on, you could tap into magnets, pyramids, and crystals. That's Uncle Hank Rising show on YouTube at 9 p.m. Eastern, and the good sister will be on that show shining her
That's about
light.
30 minutes from now.
That part, yes, yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. We working. So yeah, man, I want to say thank you, and I want to tell my audience a huge thank you as well. We've been locked in for damn near almost 4 hours. That's commitment. That's the watch time. That's a lot on YouTube terms. That's huge to have people in the building that long. Like, you know what I'm saying? They that's a big metric right there. So I do appreciate everybody's time. I do hope that you guys were served in this time, that you were able to benefit and you did not waste your time. I want to thank all of my guests that came through. Knowledge Born Allah, Sister Ariel. The news videos, no. I'm playing that tomorrow on Third Eye Thursday. Ra Aku and Ross Ben, the legends tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? The legends, Ross Ben. And you and Ross Ben, y'all did work together, correct?
Yes, yes. I worked with him in South Florida at the Happy Oasis gathering that we put on together. So I'm
Beautiful.
very, very familiar with his work and his energy. He's a dope brother. I'm honored to be able to share and hold space with him and for him
He is
in
so
whatever way I can.
enthusiastic about seeing you in New York. Yes, when I brought your name up, he was so hyped. He was very enthusiastic and he had a great time. He just came from Florida, so he has a lot of good stories to talk about. He's refreshed, you know what I mean? He was in the sun. He's loving that Florida energy. He might even want to come back. Um, Let me drop the link. Somebody said, "What's the 9 o'clock show?" That's Uncle Hank's show. I might just connect two networks together. I don't know because I do have to. I don't know, but I'm gonna drop the link for the show. Um, and Hank Rosin's son was the one. He was the brother. He was on Brother Rich's channel talking about the cacao and the tobacco the other day. He had everybody hyped. He had my mom so hyped that she went and got it the next day. Like,
Oh, she
yeah,
can't get it until she get mine.
she was high. Yeah, look. She manifested it. She didn't even go out and look for it. She was so excited, enthusiastic about the conversation that somebody literally brought Brother Richard cigar to her door and some cacao. Like she was, when you really want something, you start magnifying and just bringing it to you. That's literally how that worked out. You know what I mean? So people in this that cacao talk got people on a tippy toes. They want to experience it. So the cacao and the tobacco, I'm doing my due diligence to bring them cigars to New York. So I want to make that happen, inshallah. I know that you're gonna have the cacao, so we're gonna make it happen. It's gonna be like a match made in heaven when everybody gets that. You dig? So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to close this out. I'm gonna close this out with a song that we have with Cambada, the new song off of the new album Voltron Volume 1. And this is gonna be Disclosure. Any last words before we check out of here?
Hey, thank you all for having me. Thank you all for being on the frequency and being in tune. I look forward to more of these deeper conversations. You know, y'all keep holding space and we're going to keep coming with it because it's time for us to remember who we are and we coming for everything that was taken for us, okay?
That's right. You
Let's rock.
already. I couldn't said it better. All right, family. With that being said, peace, love, and light. Make sure y'all grab y'all tickets. It's in the QR code right there. We are going to close this out with Disclosure. Peace.
Peace.
We the collectors of the art, the thinkers, the doers, the knowers, the architectures of the art. Triple dark moon protectors of the hearts. Triple dark mega yachts, 444 megawatts. Firm biz, nature, Foxy, AZ, Don, Escobar, moving megatons, mega bucks. 444 megatrons, they call mega bus. Went from Sega bus and a mega bus as we embark upon a hero's journey. Opening scene in Carlito's Way, laid out on a hero's gurney. Staring off afar into the canopy of stars until it landed me on Mars. Mama, my third eye active, captive. Seventh heaven opened up the third eye atlas. On the third eye Thursdays, Voltron formed with bird's eye wordplay. Via the third eye persons in third grade. Revenge of the blur days, the Vic Mensa, mixed with the elixir Serpenta. Welcome to the center of a mentor.
Got the gods excited as I'm strapped up in my captain's chair. Autopilot, spacecraft, I don't have to stare. It's called arriving. Pass through natural wear and crack the atmosphere. The daddy's here. Them tinfoil hatters that were gathered there just clap.
We the collectors of the art, the thinkers, the doers, the knowers, the architectures of the art. Triple dark moon protectors of the hearts. Triple dark mega yachts, 444 megawatts. Firm biz, nature, Foxy, AZ, Don, Escobar, moving megatons, mega bucks. 444 megatrons, they call mega bus. Went from Sega bus and a mega bus as we embark upon a hero's journey. Opening scene in Carlito's Way, laid out on a hero's gurney. Staring off afar into the canopy of stars until it landed me on Mars. Mama, my third eye active, captive. Seventh heaven opened up the third eye atlas. on the Third Eye Thursdays. Voltron form with bird's eye wordplay. Via the third eye persons in third grade. Revenge of the blur days. The Vic Mensa, mixed with the elixir serpenta. Welcome to the center of a mentor. Ugh.
Got the gods excited as I'm strapped up in my captain's chair. Autopilot, spacecraft, I don't have to stare. Caught arriving, pass through natural wear and crack the atmosphere. The daddy's here, them tinfoil hatters that were gathered there just clapped in chairs. Left the faculty of NASA scared. Donald Trump started acting weird, he just sat and stared. I hit up Billy Carson for a chat, we're galactic pairs. Grab the bear, acid in a chalice full of dragon tears. Cone-headed, 12-foot giant with a gold melon. Native suit, ants-eyed Christ at the Catholic sphere. Universal soldier, the predator. You travel in the galaxy for challenges. You clash with me, I'll scrap you there. Warlord, I can smell the blood when the battle's near. I see the smoke from the disaster that happens after clear. Buoyant, telepathic, empathic seer. I'll imagine atoms somewhere and then astral travel there. It's fact, I swear. Cross 1 billion light years in half a year. I'll teleport through different dimensions like after Alistair. Magic mirror, summon the ghost of the late Delbert Blair. Alistair, Broly, I stat in prayer and my dad appears. Savage, I'll attack a bear, smack him bare. Handed claws, hit him with the paws like he acting queer. Split his jaw, crack a crown, lost a canine. Ain't no lassie hair. See the teeth flying out his mouth like some babonaire. Catch a tooth, attach it to my staff, now I have a spare. Stab the bear, wait and pick the scab, then re-stab the bear. A lion heart, 3 eagle eyes, 2 rabbit ears. I like it dark, I see the sound waves that a bat would hear. Rather wear the fact that I have all its natural talents rare. Physical athletic abilities that I have compared. Bron as a cavalier, Shaq in his magic year. Kobe when he had the fro and Jordan when he had some hair. Vince Carter, back on the Raptors when T-Mac was there. Iverson, why we still talking about practice here? Compared to you, Earth is a 3-dimensional massive sphere. Compared to me, Earth is a 2-dimensional flattened square. Oh my, look up in the sky. What's that up there? Not a comet. Rocks made of ice are not that aware. Not a drone. Anything else that was manufactured here. It's a craft, cleverly disguised like a mask I wear. Daddy's here, 3-eye atlas in your stratosphere. Galaxy to galaxy, I traffic and I rack a dare. Fuck Earth, all I see is fags and crack addicts here. Everyone's cursed. God is so mad that he had to swear. Say your last prayers, get your bags prepared. When my crown prepares, it means the revelation chapter's near. You gon' hear a blast and a flash of flare. Blinded, shining like the platinum that a rapper wears. Destroy Earth, leave, look back and cry happy tears. Watch the simulation crash and call Apple cares. Out of gas, I stole it from the sun and caused plasma flare. Gotta say I, then hit me on the app, I got facts to share.
Affluence.
Then I hack and Palantir and clear the data there.
Altruism, unity, wholeness, precision, authentic love, harmony, healing, activation, tranquility, resilience, consistency, vitality, magnitude, chaos. The rightful ruler's back.
To this day,